Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on October the 4th, 2016. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me as always, the bane of my existence,
Caffeine Rage.
And our odd third wheel for the week.
What's up? I'm Kyle.
On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we played. Digital Homicide drops its lawsuit and closes its doors. Steam's secret early access rules. 8 members of the Kerbal Space Program development team quit. We'll have our weekly community corner, our Steam weekly deals discussion, and as always, timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics, as long as I remember them all this week.
I don't know, 15 minutes was pretty descriptive.
Or Rage fixes them. 15 minutes is very descriptive. All right, I don't know how much is going to make it into the episode as an outtake and how much of it is going to go to Franken episode, but we've been recording for like a half an hour at this point.
More like 45 minutes.
I was actually about to make a joke. Oh, we're starting on time. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at it this way. If the show ends up short, you could pad it out.
I could pad it with all the garbage and just stick that at the end.
Hey, one man's trash is your audience's treasure.
Yeah. We'll have 30 minutes of ice cream and politics and clown murder.
And some sort of Asian shit orgasm thing. I don't know.
I would have said Asian vomit orgasm.
I don't know.
Which I'm pretty sure is a fetish over there.
I was going to say, I think that's a real fetish in Japan.
Oh, Japan.
Honestly, Japan is like Jared. There's no such thing as that's nothing that is a turn off.
Well, that's not true. We did learn about a turn off.
Yeah, I don't like clowns.
And I have a feeling that there's going to be a way to fix that.
You mean liking clowns?
Yeah, come on, Jared. You're not going to be able to resist clowns forever.
Maybe if there's enough sexy Halloween clown costumes, I'll change my mind.
But what if they're sexy Halloween clowns standing in the woods? How conflicting is that? I'm just curious.
Well, my fear of clowns will override the allure of boobies.
So,
and I'll run away.
Okay. Never mind. I'm not going to derail us. Let's get this moving.
We're already derailed.
Yeah, we are. Okay, so is there like a cup size limit that would override your fear instinct? What are you talking here?
I don't know. Good question.
Well, I think it's kind of sexist that you're assuming female sexy clown.
No, definitely not going to go for the male sexy clowns. Definitely want the females in this case.
I don't know. A male sexy clown just strikes me as a little less trustworthy.
All clowns are not very trustworthy.
Because, I mean, if you see a clown, like, windmilling a 10-inch member, that's slightly more disturbing than just, like, a female clown with, like, a D cup, just, like, letting them flop all over the place.
I mean, it would be fascinating to watch, but if they take a step towards me, I'm headed the other way.
Well, at least with the giant shoes, you'll be able to outrun them fairly easily.
And you'll hear them coming, because all you hear is squeak, 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 as they approach.
I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
All right, Rage, high five. Great.
Here, I'll fix it. Jared, Harley Quinn.
Nope, I'm not really into Harley Quinn.
Yeah, well, so much for that.
Never been my thing. Okay. Well, Harley Quinn is a character in Batman, which there's games about Batman. So I'm going to drag us into our games discussion because I don't want to talk about clowns anymore.
I do, but I doubt it's going anywhere.
Nope. Shutting it down right now. Let's talk about the games that we played this week.
Sounds good.
It would be polite to let Kyle go first, but I'm really interested in what you are doing with the Dolphin Emulator Rage, so I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I have you know that there is a purpose for this, or should I say a porpoise.
Hey-o.
I was waiting for it.
A poipus? Got a poipus?
Yeah, the Dolphin Emulator, if you don't know, is the GameCube/Wii emulator, and since I was kind of incapacitated again this weekend. This time my back was acting up. So I didn't do a whole lot. Somewhere between Saturday and Monday, which honestly is not too huge of a difference. But the real difference was I wasn't really at my computer. So Monday I decided, I want to see how the 480 holds the Dolphin Emulator, because it was right on the cusp of playability with the 7800 series for my old video card. And it actually runs very well now. The Dolphin Emulator, the GameCube, is the first Nintendo console that I didn't really have any experience with. I played the original Nintendo, a little bit of the NES, not too much. I didn't own one, but I had a friend that owned one. In the N64, but I never really got into the GameCube, so it seems like a good jumping in point. And this is something that I need to figure out, is what games to go for. What games on the GameCube are worth my time?
Definitely the Star Wars Rogue Squadron games.
Yep, those are badass.
Right now I only have Zelda Wind Waker and Super Mario RPG 1000 Year Door downloaded.
Yeah.
Both of those are great.
Those are amazing.
And I will say a caveat. I will not play a shooter on the emulator. I just cannot do shooters with a gamepad. So I know that knocks out Metroid Prime and a lot of pretty decent shooters. It's just, I like to do this little thing called aiming.
You would hate Luigi's Mansion then, because aiming there is more of just a suggestion.
Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Metroid Prime games. They weren't bad, but just, I don't know, I just didn't feel like that Metroid translated super well to an FPS.
I would agree with that. The only one that actually did it well, in my mind, was surprisingly Metroid Prime Hunters. And then I actually went back and replayed that recently. It does not hold up. I mean, it's a good story. The puzzles are still kind of good, but the graphics on a DS are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GameCube is right in that era where the 3D doesn't look terrible, and then you get into more artistic stylings like Wind Waker and Thousand Year Door, where they went for a different art styling instead of trying to go realistic. So they're more timeless. That's not to say that they won't eventually be completely ugly just due to the ravages of time, but they still hold up artistic-wise.
I would agree with that because my friend and I, we actually play the original Paper Mario about once every Christmas, so I need to go find my Nintendo 64. But as we get bigger and bigger TVs, that game is starting to look worse and worse, just because of the
Nintendo 64, it more has blobs of triangles that look somewhat like Mario than Mario.
Well, this is the Paper Mario one, so I mean, it's similar to the GameCube one. The GameCube one's a little sharper, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if I understand correctly, the GameCube one has some additional features where Mario makes use of the fact that he is paper.
Yeah, and then every single female character wants to ride his little Italian plumber. You think I'm kidding. It's insane.
Well, there was an article, it's not on the docket this week, but that said Mario is only 24. That is a hard 24, isn't it?
Life has not been good to that man. But he does have crazy good ups.
Other things I think you should play, Super Mario Sunshine.
Yep.
A lot of people didn't like it, but I have to say Sunshine was one of my favorite 3D Mario games that I've played thus far. It had a lot of inventive little mechanics in it, so that was pretty cool.
Agreed, but Jared, you've played Sunshine, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The pachinko level can go fuck itself. Or do you not know about that one?
I don't remember the pachinko level. I beat the game, but I don't remember that.
Okay, so the pachinko level, just in case Rage wants to waste an afternoon throwing his computer across the room.
Which would be quite the feat because I have this giant monolith of a
trust me, this level you would find a way.
Well, it does have a handle.
Well,
but, I imagine I would end up just hurting myself more than I would the computer.
Probably, but the way you get to it is there's this boat that runs after you get a certain number of shines. And underneath this, building bridge overpass thing, there's a little hole in the floor. You need to jump up into that, and then it'll take you to a hidden level, which is basically a giant, pachinko machine, and you have to get 8 red coins, and you cannot fuck this up because all of the angles are curved, so it will immediately throw you out the bottom if you try, or like if you fuck this up. It is insane. I hate that level.
Okay.
But other games, Melee.
You definitely need to play Smash Brothers Melee.
Yep, that one's fantastic.
Yeah, I think Melee was the best Smash Brothers game that's ever.
Yeah,
that
I
has
never really
existed
played
so far.
Smash Brothers just in general.
Melee is the best iteration of it because it has a really good balance between a lot of characters and not a whole lot of bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's where they got the formula exactly right. And the only other game that I'm going to recommend, and this is just a personal one, is Kirby Air Ride. Is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's fun. I think
the Trial City is definitely like the highlight of that game because there's 3 games in there. There's this like top-down racer, which, oh god, fuck that one. There's like a Mario Kart-ish thing, kind of not really, called Air Ride, but then there's this thing called Trial City, which is like you have 5 minutes to build the best machine that you can, and then you compete in some like little mini game afterwards. And there's like random events in the city, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think though, at least for me, Kirby Air Ride was not very fun to play by myself. It was really fun to play with friends.
That is not incorrect. Like Trial City was a little bit better because the bots, you can set them and they're not that dumb. Like they might do some really dumb shit, like get a cart that simply cannot fly in some sort of long distance flying challenge. I'm trying to think of other games that aren't. I personally like the Need for Speeds, Underground 2, and Most Wanted on there, but they're better. They got better resolution on any of the other systems at the time.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other GameCube games that would be like, you should play this like right off the bat. I'm sure if I really did, because I played the GameCube a lot. It was one of
Eternal Darkness.
I don't think I played Eternal Darkness.
Yeah, but
that
that's
one's
a
good. It
shooter.
fucks with the player's head. It's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah, but that's a shooter, and I just
No, it's not.
I just cannot do shooting with a gamepad.
It's not really a shooter. There's a lot of like melee sections as well, and it really
Is that the one that's kind of a horror game where it messes with you? Like,
oh
'cause
yeah,
it'll make you think that your like screen is turning off or your save file's been deleted, or
right?
whatever.
Or you'll see like a room full of ammo and it's just an illusion, or like your character will turn around and shoot the camera because they're going nuts.
Yeah. That one's, you got the sanity meter, and you've got to keep yourself sane. And the more you lose your sanity, the more things get screwed up, right?
Right, and it's cool because it's a nice mesh of gameplay and user experience. But yeah, so those are the games that we would recommend from the GameCube era. As far as the Wii goes,
pretty much anything that's first party, because everything else is just shovelware from what I can tell.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I'm not entirely sure how it's going to do like the motion controls for like Wii Sports and shit, which is
from what I understand, at least the pointer, it uses the mouse.
That's dumb. The only one I would actually recommend at that point would be the Mario Kart, but that's just because you can play that with the same as a GameCube setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not terribly interested in the Wii version of anything. I'm more looking at just the GameCube and trying to play some of the games that I really should have played, but just I had no interest in the GameCube.
GameCube was a damn good console.
This was when I transitioned to the PlayStation, if I recall correctly, and then I then went pretty much pure PC after that.
PC Master Race.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Sup, bro? We'll get to that.
Oh, you know what? Sonic Adventures.
Oh, yeah, Sonic Adventures was pretty good.
Sonic Adventures is a great GameCube game.
Yeah, kind of weird to think of a Sonic game on a Nintendo system, though, because remember, I grew up during the epic console wars where Nintendo and Sega were sniping on one another to the point that they almost drove the industry itself into government regulation.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
But Sonic Adventures is a good game.
Yeah, there was
so
actually
that kind of makes up for some of that.
There's a Sonic Collection 2 that has a bunch of like the old Sonic games on it as well on the GameCube. I had that for a while.
Yeah, but at that point, I may as well just get the Genesis emulator.
Oh, Mario Galaxy. That's the only other thing I would recommend on the Wii.
Yeah, Mario Galaxy is good, for sure.
Sup, bro? Do you even casual game?
Well, if I did, the Wii version of everything would be very attractive, wouldn't it?
Almost as attractive as a sexy clown in the woods. That's what we call a callback, boys and girls.
God help me.
Or Jared just starts editing like crazy, but that requires effort.
Start murdering like crazy. I'll be the one in the clown costume.
I was tortured by people on a podcast I was on about clowns. That's the day I became the Dark Clown Knight. Some Hans Zimmer music starts playing.
Yeah, but the batarangs made out of balloons just aren't very effective.
Well, no, I like the idea that he like balloon folds things and then just chucks them at people.
Yeah, but also the little Batmobile. Just the little Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah, but can you imagine how many sidekicks he could fit in that?
The itty bitty Batmobile.
Yeah, and then like traffic, no big deal. Just swerve in and out of like all the cars. You just have to worry about getting run your ass over.
I don't think traffic is a problem for the Batmobile in modern times. The Tumbler can just crash over traffic, no problem.
Can we just get an iteration of Batman where he just drives a goddamn monster truck?
I'm actually surprised that there isn't one.
Actually,
I'm going to Google that right now.
Could we get a version of Batman where he drives the monster truck from Just Cause 2 with a grenade launcher on top?
Well, I do know that there is a issue of Deadpool that he pretty much does that.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's Marvel. I mean, DC, the only really, truly crazy person you have is a clown.
Oh, no, I'm going to argue that Batman's, pretty batshit insane.
True, but that is... Because isn't the Joker set up to be like a mirror but opposite image of Bat... Okay, we need to move on. I could get into this. I'm sorry. I'm going to call party foul on myself.
I'm looking for Batman monster trucks. There are actually lots of iterations of a Batman monster truck, but they're, as far as I can tell, it was never actually in the comics or in any of the animated series. It's just a monster truck called Batman, and it's got Batman stuff on it.
I'm not sure if that's copyright infringement or not. Anyways, I now know what I'm going to do with my Steam trading cards. I'm going to go buy a monster truck.
It's a lot of trading cards.
I have a lot of trading cards.
You can get Monster Jam on Steam.
God, that game, that takes me back. When I was a kid, I played that all the goddamn time. I had a joystick. It was amazing.
Pretty decent game.
Yep. Gravedigger for life.
Okay, let's move on. Kyle, I'm going to let you go next, and we've got some crossover.
We do. I'm going to start with Spin Tires just because Rage has also played that, so we can all three talk about it.
Yeah, and it's currently on my channel, or the last episode of it will be the day after we record this.
Yes.
Or the first series, I should say.
Yes.
The second series will continue on, and it'll be on both our channels then.
Yes, but I managed to recover the first episode from the first series, so I'm going to put that up at
I want to play
point.
Spin Tires and put it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, totally. Spin Tires is great. The multiplayer is actually... I can't really speak for my end because I was hosting, but I didn't experience that much lag, like, at all.
No, it wasn't laggy at all.
The only issue I had with the multiplayer was when someone tabbed out and knocked me off the server and then reset all my truck progress.
That sounds like a personal problem. That's not my personal problem. The important thing was I still had all my map revealed.
Well, I had the beacons revealed, but any... driving outside of that was not revealed.
Yes. I will say, though, the map the map hill gave you way too many B-130s. In other words, they gave you a B-130, and then another one, and then another one. For the uninitiated, the B-130
you know what we should have done?
Horrible truck.
Now that I think about it, you know what we should have done? We should have conga lined all 6 of them together.
Yes.
Is the B-130 the truck that's the dually that doesn't have all-wheel drive?
Yeah, and you can only put chains on it, and it just has diff lock.
Yeah.
And it's a little blue cab thing? Yes.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
That truck sucks.
I managed to flip one with a fuel cistern on it.
Well, that was fun.
Well,
I
keep in
didn't
mind, I've
flip
also
it,
managed
mostly
to
because I decided I didn't want to drive it.
Yes. I
The
will
only
say,
way to
though,
move is not to play.
they need better descriptions of the trucks, and I'm only going to say that, no spoilers, we might have shot ourselves in the foot for the first little bit of our second series, just based on truck choice, because we went a little bit custom there, I remember that. And by
Yeah, but we eventually got through.
We did, but we could have gotten through in like a half hour less if I had just left the regular truck.
What map did we play on Friday with Jim?
We played Coast with Jim, and that was an absolute treat to play with you guys. Number one, I deliberately avoided that bridge that I absolutely goddamn destroyed in one hit that time.
Are we talking Jim 3535?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet he was lovely.
He was in top form. Jim 3535, if you're listening, clap to you.
He was really mad for a while because he couldn't figure stuff out, and I didn't know. It was also the first time I had played, except for a few minutes to familiarize myself with the controls.
Yep. Well, here's the thing.
And,
he bought it, downloaded it, and then started it. Like, just immediately jumped in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad move.
A little bit. You want to at least spend a little time in the proving grounds.
Do you guys want to play Spin Tires tomorrow night for stream?
Yes. And
Rage?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's play Spin Tires. So 3 hours should be enough time to complete at least one.
well, with
the
three people, we
of us.
managed to knock that map out in like an hour 40, so we could probably get 2 maps in, no problem.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
to be fair, usually I go off and explore for a while.
Hey, I did that when I was playing with Jared and Jim.
Yeah, he revealed the map for us, and then I kind of had a basic handle on driving, so I was just like learning some of the other systems, like how to grab logs and stuff like that.
I will say, at least the DualShock 4 controller, it makes things so much easier in that game.
I actually was using my my joystick. I already had it hooked up from playing MechWarrior Online earlier.
The thing is, for the
I'm just gonna
crane,
try this.
one stick controls the forward and backward motion of the claw. You know, how far out it is, but keeps it level. And also rotates the crane itself. Mm-hmm. And the other thumbstick lowers and raises the claw and also rotates the claw itself. So between those two sticks, it makes things so simple just to manipulate.
Yes. I will say, though, a highlight from this game that I didn't see, but I'm still holding it in the highest possible regard as far as spin tire shit goes. The trucks are rated by class, and the later in the alphabet, the bigger the truck. Now, there's a map called Volcano, and there's this one really bastardly, like, cloaking. It is at the top of a mountain with, I shit you not even an idea of a road about how to get up to this thing. Now, you're, I guess, meant to take, like, an A-class truck and just kind of Spider-Man your way up with your winch. Rage took a look at that, said, fuck it, and took essentially a Scud missile launcher up that fucking mountain to get the goddamn cloaking, and it was impressive.
That's amazing.
It really was.
To be fair, I was using all-wheel drive at that point.
Yeah, and you have, 8 wheels on that thing?
8 wheels, probably, like, absolutely no turning radius.
I have you know the turning radius was my winch.
Well, the other thing that I like is those trees couldn't have been more than, like, 12 to 14 inches around at the base, and they're just hauling a Scud missile launcher up the goddamn mountain. I will say, though,
I wish I was recording that.
I got an achievement that night, and it was really useless. You have to climb to the top of the volcano and honk 3 times.
That's amazing
But
achievement.
motherfucker, I did it.
I was playing
one of the episodes. I got the achievement for driving 100 kilometers.
Nice.
I was playing. Is it Flood or Flooded?
Flood's pretty good. I like Flood.
I was exploring around, and I was being really careful at the beginning because you gotta. It took me a little while to figure out how to drive in water that deep without destroying my truck. But there's a K class, the K class on that map, which for those listening is basically a tractor. It's huge. And it's got, instead of having wheels that turn, it pivots in the middle. And I basically just used that and completed the rest of the map because I would just hook up to one of the other trucks and just drag it everywhere.
I just like the idea of Jared just going, okay, you're coming with me.
That was pretty much it. You can get the Scud missile launcher on that map too. And I was dragging the Scud missile launcher.
Can you? I thought you could get the D-class truck, which is like the one underneath it.
And maybe that was it. Maybe I'm confusing the two of them. But regardless, you can put, I think, 12 points of logs on that truck. Like if you fit it with the maximum log bed and the biggest trailer. And I just was dragging it around. And then I'd go get another truck with a crane and drag that over. It was great.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun. We should play Flood on Wednesday.
Okay, we can play Flood.
Or in terms of when this comes out, we should play Flood a couple days ago.
I really do want to play Spin Tires tomorrow night. And since Wednesday night is the undiplomatic stream, I have made it so.
Sounds good. I'm actually going to be around for that more than likely.
Now we just need to capture Mel.
She, A, does not have this game, and B, does not necessarily have any interest in it. I mean, we can get her on the stream and get her watching, but she's just going to be a ghostly contributor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get Mel's on this podcast sometimes.
We could.
Yeah, a 4-person podcast. That will make Jared's day.
I mean, I would just sit here quietly the whole time, and then I would edit it all later. I think that's fair.
I will yes-and that shit for days.
Okay. What else did you play, Kyle?
Let's see. I'm going to go with my kind of off game, then I'll wrap up with my other game that you and I both played. The other game I've been playing was Sid Meier's Pirates, which is a game that I go back and play every so often. I picked it up on my phone a couple of years ago, and so I just downloaded and played that. It's a really interesting take on the whole pirate RPG thing, where you don't actually have like stats. You have upgrades to your boat, and the thing is, you can... There are a shit ton of boats in this game. Each nation has a type of boat that it has an affinity for, like Spain likes its galleons, England likes its brigs and merchantmen, France likes sailing from place to place and not getting shot at, the Dutch have flutes. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and so you start out, and the whole premise is there's this absolute dick munch of a marquis named the Marquis Montauban or somebody like that. And basically, your family...
Does he have an outrageous accent?
Nobody actually speaks English in this game. I think he just goes... or something like that. So, what happens is your family is like a wealthy merchant class, but they're like just getting there, and they ordered a shipment of something to sell. It's not really spelled out what happens. But the ship that was carrying essentially your future on it sank, and then the Marquis and his asshole buddy, the, what is his name? Baron, let's call him Douchebag. I don't remember what his name is. Baron Ramondo, that's his name. Let's just call him
Baron Ramondo Douchebag.
Yep, Baron Ramondo Douchebag. It's a family name. So what ends up happening is they come over, and it's like you're celebrating dinner, and they're like, yeah, your ship sank, you're coming with us. So they kidnap your sister, your grandfather, your uncle, and your aunt. I have no idea what happened to your parents. So then a few years later, you decide to go out to the New World and hunt these guys down, and you can sign on with the English, French, Dutch, or Spanish. And then it puts you into the Spanish Main. And it'll... Your home port, quote-unquote, just like the port you start off in, it kind of dictates, like, your playstyle. Like, the Spanish have a lot of cities, but they're constantly at war, and you basically have to go seek out the other cities, especially, like, the Dutch don't have a whole lot. If you go in with the Dutch and they go to war with the Spanish, you don't really have to travel that far to start sinking Spanish ships. But as it goes, you have, like, these quests that you pick up, and in the phone version, it gives you kind of a sense of direction to do this, which is nice because it's like, okay, capture a ship, learn how to do this, get this much gold, rescue your sister, that sort of thing, so like you have kind of a tempo for it. But as you go along, you can upgrade your ship, and each port has like a different upgrade, like you can reinforce the hull with copper, you can get bronze guns. Occasionally, like, ships you raid will have people on it that will upgrade your ship, like a cook will keep your people happier for longer. And so you go around and you can fight like various pirates who are all for some reason alive at the same time. And it's pretty cool. You can take over cities. In the PC version, it's this turn-based strategy game in order to do this, and I like that a lot better than the system they have in the mobile version. In the mobile version, you just bombard the city, and it weighs how many guns and how many crew you have against the defenses of the city. And then it'll like flip a coin, and it weights the coin based on those numbers. And so in the computer game, it's entirely possible to just get like a small fleet of small boats so that you can, consistently outmaneuver navies and whatnot. But in the phone game, once you reach like the end game, you need to get like a huge ship that is horrible for pirating but amazing for taking down settlements. So in my particular game, I managed to rescue all my family members, kill every single other pirate lord that was out there, essentially. Find 6 buried treasures, pork a French girl, marry an English girl, and it's no longer the Spanish main. I converted every single city in my game to England, and then I retired from pirating at 34.
Nice.
If you're going to play this game, it's super cheap on Steam. It's actually the same price on Steam as it is on the iTunes store. I don't know if it's on the Android store. It's $10. It's $10 well spent. I mean, the game's a lot of fun. I go back and I replay it every couple of years, and it consistently holds up. Like, you're not going to get more than like one playthrough every couple of months, because by the time you finish, you're like, oh, mother of God, that was a long-ass playthrough. It just feels long. But it's a fun time, and it's a good romp, and there's nothing else quite like it, which is why I asked about it on Twitter last week.
Yeah, I played Sid Meier's Pirates quite a bit.
Yeah, I played it years ago myself. It's
I played it,
one of those that I remember, but not well enough to really be able to comment that much on.
Right.
Yeah, I played it on original Xbox, and then later it came to Xbox 360 as a digital download, so I played it there. And I own it on Steam, although I've never played it on PC.
How are the controls on Xbox? Because on the phone it's a lot of like weird touch mini games, which you just get better at. On the computer, it's all numpad driven. It's numpad and mouse, which is kind of a weird choice, but you don't need to use the two at the same time, so it works.
Yeah, on console, I remember it being a lot of QTE stuff, and then for like ship control and stuff, it behaves kind of like a twin-stick shooter.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So like the sword fighting and the dancing and stuff like that, QTE, and then naval battles, twin-stick shooter, and just kind of controlling your ship on the kind of the world map as you sail around. Mm-hmm. And then the turn-based settlement battles are, turn-based settlement battles. You just drive it with the left thumbstick and the A button.
Yeah, that sounds like about all you need. Yeah, I guess I should mention that the dancing and sword fighting, they're not so QTE-ish on the computers. Like, it's just watching the patterns, and they are little mini-games. You are going to be doing them a lot. So if you're not a big fan of, like, 2 games that you're going to get amazing at by the time you're done with it, otherwise you're not going to be very good at the game, this game's not going to be for you unless you can overlook that. Like, I'll put that out there right now. If you hate like repetitive little mini games, there's only 2 of them, and you get better at them just by doing them. If you hate that shit, this is not going to be up your alley.
Yeah.
That's Sid Meier's Pirates. The only other thing I have to say is, so, dude, bro, you want to be a pirate. Man, you also want to capture a lot of ships. Have I got a deal for you? The fucking Royal Sloop. In all seriousness, a fully upgraded Royal Sloop is probably the best ship in the game for pirating, not necessarily for, like, just having a lot of men on your side. Because it's the fastest ship with the most guns. Like,
right.
It's super fast. It's awesome.
Guns are very important when you're pirating.
They can be, but I mean, like, in the pirate battle thing where you're in the little naval battle, you could always just close the distance before they get a shot off and then just fight it out on the decks.
Yeah.
But then you're also trying to do a lot of tacking and jibing. And the game does a pretty good job of modeling it on the PC. On the phone, it gets a little bit more slapdash with it, but I think I've talked enough about this game. Let's move on to the undead meat and potatoes of this game list
of tonight's discussion.
Yep. So basically, yeah, I play Call of Duty, but I only play Black Ops just because a lot of my friends up at school had it when I was going there, and I picked it up when it was contemporary. So I pick it back up every so often, and the two modes I really play are just like a little private server that I run for multiplayer, and a shit ton of zombies. I kind of know what I'm doing with zombies, but it takes me a little while to figure out each map, and Jared has been kind enough to put up with my shenanigans while we try to math our way out of the zombie hordes.
Yeah, we have played a crap ton of zombies. So this past weekend, I mean, you guys know this, but the listeners, my wife took a surprise trip to go see her father for his birthday.
Aw.
And it was kind of a last-minute thing, but she was gone from Friday to Monday. So Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, I was home by myself, and I played a crap ton of video games. We probably played zombies for, I'd guess, 10 hours over the weekend.
That sounds about right. I mean, Mel's was in for part of it, but I have to say I did feel bad for her. At one point we were playing this map that takes place in a mental institute, like an abandoned mental institute in Germany. And number one, she drew the short straw and ended up separated from Jared and I by a door that couldn't be opened until you turned on the power. So she had that running against her. But then after about round 13, she would be alive for like 2 minutes because she fell behind the point curve. And then just would be watching us for like 15 minutes, finishing up the round, doing all of our in-between round shit. We made it pretty far. We made it to what, like 18 or something like that?
Yeah, we got really far. In case you've never played Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, or really any of the Call of Duty zombies, every round that passes, the zombies get stronger. Mm-hmm. And you can do things to upgrade yourself, but there is a point curve. And if you don't keep up with the point curve so that you can continue to upgrade yourself to be able to beat the zombies, you just don't stand a chance.
That is correct.
Like, eventually, they will just overwhelm you. And Mel fell behind the point curve. And even though you and I were still going pretty strong, we each had some moments where mistakes were made, but overall we were doing well. She fell behind, and then she just could not recover.
Right, and I felt bad for her. And we kept her alive for as long as we could, but realistically, she could only pick up the Sturmgewehr. But the problem was, because the zombies kept getting stronger, that gun became essentially just a point mill for body shots, because there was very little else that she could do with it. Now, to give you some idea of how aggressive the point curve is, I went down in round 17, which was the round right before we lost, and I had 14,000 points on me when I respawned. Grabbed up all my sodas, grabbed up some guns, played the box. There's a box that gives you random good weapons. The downside to the box is you can't get ammo for it on the map, or like whatever gun you pull out of there, so you're very relying on this drop that the zombies sometimes give called max ammo. But yeah, so I was at 14,000 points. I was still behind the point curve because I went down.
Yeah.
Like, I got down immediately after that.
Yeah, it does not forgive mistakes after the first 5 or 6 waves.
I will say, though, that round that we were playing on Sunday where we were on the moon, and just for whatever reason we could not get it going, that was actually kind of a lot of fun. Like,
we made it like 9 waves.
We made it 9 waves, but it was like watching the Three Stooges just trip over themselves to get out of the way of the zombies, essentially, is what was going on.
Yeah, every round 2 of us would die. And then the other person would have to save everybody.
Okay, let's not beat around the bush. Every round, Mel's and I would, for whatever reason, die, and then Jared would have to carry us.
I died a few times, too. That was the night that you were off, though. Last night was the night that I was off, and I kept dying.
Yes, but last night was also the night that we worked out the math, and I actually did math at work for this, that the shotgun is better than the M16 on the map Moon.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had a really long conversation about why we thought one was better than the other one, and then you went away and did the math, and your math proved us wrong, and we discussed it some more.
Yeah, it was about like the nerdiest thing talking about a Call of Duty game that I could possibly imagine. She was like, hey guys, okay, so, this is gonna be, you gotta take your total ammo and divide it by 6, and you also have to take the ammo in your mag and divide that by 6, versus the, stakeout, which is gonna be a little bit more of a crowd control, and in the pain train mathematics and the formulas that dictate that, you're gonna be able to reverse a little bit better with that, versus running out of ammo in your, point racker gun.
I think we have a new character.
Do you guys not know that I used to do voice acting?
Yeah, we do. It's just, we haven't heard the nerd character yet.
Nerd bro.
Sup, guys? All right, here's some elite nerd bro tips. Number 1,
well done, Seth.
Girls dig pocket protectors. If the girl isn't into your pocket protector, you shouldn't be in her. Actually, I'm sorry, that was insensitive. Guys can also be into the guys, so if the guy's not into the pocket protector, he shouldn't be in you.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Thank you. My stand-up is coming through.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we also played some multiplayer, and that's... If you've seen any of those, like, YouTube compilations of just, like, kill streaks and shit, that's the multiplayer.
Yep. You are the best at the multiplayer. We're pretty even in zombies.
It depends how much I've had to drink with zombies. I hit, like, a really weird peak once I get drunk enough, but if I go beyond that, I start sucking again.
What was that, the Balmer Peak?
The Balmer Peak, yes.
Yep. But you're definitely the best one out of us at multiplayer.
I kind of have some chintzy kill streaks that I put together to make sure that I don't die.
Yeah, well, I have. I've played some by myself after you went to bed last night. I unlocked the M60 last night.
You know, I actually... Okay. A little backstory. My girlfriend banned me from using the M60 because I was getting, I shit you not, 20 KDRs very consistently with it. And I would be dying like 3 times. So, you know, I was pretty goddamn good with this gun. I since have dropped off with my skill level on it. I'm really preferring the RPK because of the higher fire rate and the comparable damage output. Sorry, hold up. So I'm actually preferring the RPK because of the comparable fire rate. I'm sorry, because of the because the nerd had a stroke. Because of the comparable damage rate and the improved fire rate, not to mention the mag is a little bit quicker to reload. So my Audacity just hiccuped. Here's to hoping that everything is fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll fix it in post.
Well, it hiccups at about 50 minutes every single time, so...
so you'll at least have 2 more hiccups.
No. It's only at the first 50-minute mark. It's really weird. I don't know what causes that. I've got 400 hours of disk space to go, so I'm fine.
Only 400?
I don't allocate that much to Audacity.
Well, I have it recorded to my recording drive.
I have 766 hours left.
I only have 1,352. And 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's the 7 minutes. That's the killer.
That's the important bit, the 7 minutes.
Oh shit! I'm down to 437 minutes. 400 hours and 37 minutes. But yeah, as far as multi goes, obviously everybody loves Nuketown. Firing range is pretty good. Jungle can go fuck itself. I have all of the DLC maps. I'm just waiting for Jared to get on the boat here. But
well, they'll be on sale eventually.
Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here going, I know some of these words.
Yeah.
Next time the game's on sale, I'm going to buy it for you, buddy. And then you can come play Om Nom Zoms with us.
Well, if you buy him the game, let me know. I'll get him the Resurrection Pack, because without that, there's only 3 maps, and it's like... The one I really want to play with everybody is called Ascension, and it's zombies at the Cosmodrome, which is fucking nuts, and I love it. But the problem is it's stapled to another bit of DLC. I think it's like the first pack of DLC that came out, like First Strike, I think it was called. I don't know. I'd have to check, but essentially it's awesome. There's a couple rounds, and there's the math that triggers it. I don't really want to get into the math tonight, you guys. But essentially, you end up fighting. I think they're American. You end up fighting American monkeys that have deorbited onto the Cosmodrome and are trying to steal your perks.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
It's kind of amazing.
That does sound pretty legit.
Yep. It's in one of those map packs. Like, I always bought the map packs for the zombies. Most of the maps are terrible. Hazard is the worst map ever made. It's basically a meat grinder.
Which means that it's probably the most popular one.
I haven't met anybody that likes Hazard. In
It's
my
like in
my
TF2,
circle of friends,
everyone
I should say.
hates 2 Fort, but it seems like it's always the most popular one being played.
I like 2 Fort. Double Cross is better.
Double Cross, depending on the class.
Okay, I'll digress a minute.
And also, I'm not a huge fan of Capture the Flag in TF2. Just because there's so many classes dedicated to just locking down areas.
Yeah, the engineer kind of makes it a pain in the arse, but...
especially if you're not playing Highlander mode, where, you'll have... either you'll have a team that has, half a dozen snipers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Christmas morning.
Yeah, basically.
Or you'll have a team that's 3 or 4 engineers that all build right next to one another.
Yeah, where they have covering firing arcs.
And then you just wait for that one Uber demo to come in and just blow everything up.
Yeah. I'm actually, I know a lot of people say this, I'm actually a pretty good spy when it comes to Capture the Flag, because I'm not going to go for the flag, I'm just going to sit there and fuck around with everybody, and make them follow me rather than, guard the fucking objective.
Well, to be fair, most of the time they aren't guarding the fucking objective anyway. They'll guard a way into the objective, maybe.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about 2 Fort is it's unfortunate that it's very easy to use dispensers to lock down both ways to the flag.
Yeah.
Which
what's hilarious is at times you'll just get a team that actually builds into the enemy's team's room. So you'll have an enemy sentry nest around the objective.
That's amazing.
And they'll just have a teleporter going into the objective. Someone picks up the flag and then runs out of the room.
Well, why don't you just if you've got that many engineers, why not just have a 2-way teleporter in and out?
Because it doesn't work like that.
No. I'm saying one set of engineers. Where
No.
Builds...
If you're carrying the objective, if you go on a teleporter, it drops it.
I haven't played TF2 in a while. The other thing I'm really good at is Pyro, and I'm fucking phenomenal with the flare gun.
Well, I was heavy on my Highlander team. And in the last game I played, I was just a rock. I pissed off the enemy team so much.
Nice. Yep. So that's Black Ops. Well, not the last bit. The last bit was Team Fortress 2.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, then that means it's my turn. You covered a couple of games that were going to be on my list, but I did play The Crew this week.
Nice.
Yeah, what do you think of The Crew?
It is not a bad game.
It's definitely not optimized.
No. God, it's an awful running game. It keeps my CPU pegged at nearly 100% at all times for reasons that I can't fathom.
Huh.
I mean, it's a decent looking game. Like it's not the best looking car game I've ever seen, but it's certainly a pretty decent game.
Yeah, pretty much any area that has a lot of physics objects, I just see my FPS starting to drop. I'm pretty sure if I was running an NVIDIA video card, it wouldn't be, because they would probably be using physics.
Yeah, I think this game is optimized for NVIDIA.
Well, that's assuming that a Ubisoft game is optimized, period.
Yeah, fair enough, but it plays better on basically anything that's not AMD. It works better because I have better performance than you do because I've got an i5.
Yeah, my processor is equivalent of a bit of an older i5. Well, it really depends on the mode that we're in. Because if I'm able to use all the cores on my processor, it's a hell of a lot stronger processor. But if I'm not...
Yeah, because you've got 8 logic cores, whereas I've only got 4. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure that this game is only using, at best, 2 of my 4 cores. It's It's awful. It's just so bad.
Oh, it's because
at least when it comes to optimization.
Yeah, I will say that I have gotten to the point where the cars aren't slipping and sliding nearly as much. I've upgraded them to that point, which is what I suspected to begin with, was that it was just a leveling thing.
See, I feel completely opposite about that. I turned all the driver assists off, all of that.
Remember, my initial complaints was before I really started diving into it and starting to try to optimize things, because I did turn off a lot of the driving assist. I toyed around with some of the settings, and I looked around online to see what was some suggested settings for the game pads. But it's all with the wheel terms. So I did some work there, and also as you gear up your cars, they do handle a lot better, and also different specs also handle a lot better. Like my performance spec will just drive circles around you if you're in your street spec.
Yeah, but you're a lot farther in the game than me. I played it for about 4 hours, I think. We streamed it for 3, and then I played it for about an hour before, just so I could go through the single player stuff and familiarize myself with the game. And I mean, it was fun. It's definitely fun. But I have had no desire to play it this week by myself. It's definitely a play with friends game for me.
Yeah, for me, it's a podcasting game. I'll turn on a podcast and just drive around randomly.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. Games like that.
Or maybe do a couple of the missions. Because the storyline, it's cheesy, it's cliche, but somehow it's still a little bit captivating.
So, is Aaron Paul in it, or what are we talking about here?
Well, let's just put it this way. Okay, I met the hacker character in one of the last missions I did. Care to guess what the hacker character looks like?
Black trench coat, dorky ass sunglasses.
No, we're going the other cliche.
Oh, so he basically looks like a basement dwelling nerd.
Who said he?
I was going to say it's probably a girl.
She.
Yeah, let's see.
So is she the hot hacker chick?
Yes. Short black dress, barely covering her ass. Huge racetracks
of land.
Well, and of course, she's able to hack into anything.
Well, let's just hope that there's no skid marks. Considering the skirt isn't that long.
I mean, I've skipped every bit of story. I've skipped every cutscene because I don't care.
It's a racing game. There's 2 stories that's going to happen. Either you're undercover cop, or you're the new upcoming guy in this underworld sports scene.
I guess having never played it and never had any interest, can I guess the plot like I did with the JRPGs?
Let's try.
Okay,
let's do this. Let's do this thing.
All right. Fuck it, we'll do it live. All right. So the dude rolls into town. He's got a car. He's looking
in a world.
Okay, yeah, in a world. In a world where the dude rolls up in a car, he's looking to make his name. When the local bigs of street racing kick his ass, he'll team up with an unlikely crew in order to take down those who wronged him and claw his way to the top. When the law gets hot on his trail, he peels out and tears ass across the country in The Crew. Chuck, we gotta go! I'm almost done hacking this! I don't know why the girl sounds like Toad. I'm almost done hacking this! We gotta go, Tits McKenzie, we gotta go! Coming to a theater near you.
So you don't have that anywhere close to correct.
Fuck!
Actually, I think that's pretty close to correct. So, okay.
Well, you've skipped the entire story, so how do you know?
All right, here's what I got from the opening cutscene. Dude is an up-and-coming racer. He wants to rise in the 510, but his brother, who's the leader, won't let him. Then there's another guy who kills his brother, which is, somewhere along the lines of, it's wronged him. Then he goes and tries to track him down because he wants to right the wrong, and he does have an unlikely crew.
Yeah, but the thing is that he was arrested for the murder of his brother, and he's working undercover for the FBI to try to overthrow the gang that he used to be a part of.
Oh, hey, Hideo Kojima, when did you get here?
Unlikely crew righting the wrongs.
Look, I just painted in really broad strokes and hoped I hit something.
He doesn't have everything wrong, but he's got the general gist.
But once again, racing game story.
Yeah. There's only 2 or 3 options.
Okay. Just, did I get the hacker female voice right?
No.
Damn.
I haven't met the hacker character yet, I don't think. Although I'm not 100% sure since I've skipped every story.
No, the hacker character is a good 5 hours away from where you are.
Okay.
We're sorry, your brother's ghost is in another castle!
But
you're for the hacker character, all the different characters of your crew have their own little story.
Of course they
do.
The
hacker character, you're trying to find her sister.
All right.
So, she's probably going to be dead and buried in the desert somewhere.
She's going to be buried with your character's brother in him.
The way I think of the crew is it's an up-res but less realistic version of Test Drive Unlimited.
That's also very lonesome because there's only ever 4 people on the map.
Yeah.
Well, unless you have your friends playing with you. I think that makes it why it feels so lonesome is that there's always, outside of your own crew, 4 people on the map, including yourself.
Yeah.
That you could see. And a lot of times they're a good 10 miles away, so, you're not interacting with them. The opening area where you're going into Detroit for the first time, where you're actually seeing a fair number of people. That's the most time. That's the most players that you'll see at one time outside of a race.
Yeah,
and even then, the racing that is PvP events only, and that's 8 players max. Very, very small racing and very, very small just player numbers in general.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for my next game, I played MechWarrior Online this week, which I know we talked about it at length last week. But no, I really, really enjoyed it. I played it for probably another 10 hours over the weekend. Made a ton of money.
I think we're going to have to schedule an intervention.
Working on getting another mech. I haven't played it in a couple of days. But, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm up to 5 mechs now in my collection. I managed to win from one of the, whatever the boxes are, a couple of mech bays.
You've been paying for opening boxes, or? No.
I won a couple, like randomly. I used my 2 free keys that I got from that challenge. No, I haven't paid for anything yet. So I've got 3 catapults now. I'm working on the mastery level, the elite mastery level for the catapult. Mm-hmm. And 2 of the 3 are missile variants. Both of them focus on long-range missiles, but one of them has backup short-range missiles. So it's a missile boat. It's pretty good. It's got really good heat management compared to my other one, which focuses on LRMs. It's got quite a few LRM-10 racks. I have to chain fire them to not overheat. But it's beautiful. There's just a solid stream of missiles that come out and head towards the target, and I'm like, yes.
So do you have to rub the missile?
Destruction.
Do you have to rub the missile shaft a little bit to get the nice solid stream?
Just a little bit. Like before I load them up into the missile base, I give each one of them a nice rub down.
That is very generous of you.
Spit
I just
polish.
hope you're using plenty of lube.
Spit polish, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to keep all of your working parts lubricated. I mean, seriously.
Absolutely. Even in the 31st century, you got to do it. But, yeah, I'm still playing it. I don't really have too much to say about it. We talked about it so much last week, but still playing it. Still putting in a lot of hours. Rage, I don't think you played it with us Friday night? Saturday night? Definitely not Saturday.
Yeah, definitely not Saturday.
So Friday or Saturday we played, and Jim and I got into a yelling match with some random guy who was being a total dude. It was one of those situations where it's like he's the worst player on the team, but somehow he managed to stay alive. And it was the 4 of us in our in our
Also,
rants,
basically, my role on the team most of the time.
yeah, it was me, Jim, Cube, and Ghost Shark. And we were doing pretty good. We were the top 4 on the team, and we were the last 4 left alive. And it was what is it, assault or domination, the ones where you have to capture multiple points.
Mm-hmm.
And we were losing by points, but we had them on mechs. And this guy was like, you just gotta go capture the points, if you paid attention. If you went and did the training, if you did the training, you'd be better with your mech. Because, it helps when you move and shoot at the same time. And, you gotta hold the lock-on reticle for your missiles. And this went on for a couple of minutes, and we were all being real quiet.
So he was tutorial boy.
Yeah, because, we were playing on TeamSpeak, so we didn't have to use in-game chat. He's like, hey, if you pay attention, we might win. And both Jim and I, at almost the same time, were like, dude, just shut up. We're doing so much better than you. I don't know why we'd listen to you in the first place. And then we just got in an argument with him, which was fun. We wound up losing the game. We were fighting 3 light mechs. We were all in heavy mechs, but since it was a points game, they could outrun us to the capture points. And eventually they won on points. But it was still fun. My skill level with that game continues to rise. I'm able to get kills with my secondary weapons now instead of just focusing on whatever my main weapon is, which with the catapults is definitely long-range missiles. But I've messed around with a lot more of the trial mechs. I'm starting to get decent with medium mechs. Light mechs are still really too fast, but I'm getting pretty good with medium mechs. So I'm looking forward to getting one of those, trying it out maybe this week.
That's good.
Still got to make another few million before I can get the one that I want.
Yeah, only a few million.
Yeah, only a few million more. And then the other game that I played this week that hasn't already been covered in Kyle's list is Sunrider Mask of Arcadius. I talked about this 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. First week showing it off because it was free. Second week saying I was going to start recording it for a Let's Play series. And this week I have been doing some recording. I've got 6 episodes recorded. And they have added a lot of stuff to that game since the last time I played it. More music for the soundtrack, some extra scenes that I just don't remember at all. And they're even kind of early in the game, so it's not even when you get to start making choices. And I'm like, man, I don't remember this existing at all. They added some more voice lines to the parts that are voice acted and punched up the quality on those. So they've done a lot of work to it. Even since they've released their other paid games, they've gone back and updated this game and improved it.
Wow.
So
you don't really see that too much.
No. So good on those guys for doing that. Plus, I've had a lot of fun recording it. Because I had even forgotten some of the other stuff about it that is really cute or cool that I like. Other than just, I'm firing my lasers. The voice actress who does that she sounds like such a cute little girl. Because there's other noises she makes too. She's like, so she does, I'm firing my lasers. But then sometimes whenever you use laser weapons, she'll go pew, 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 pew. And things like that. So it's really cool. I'm like, oh, hee. But then there's the fan service girl. And I don't remember her having these voice acted lines as well. But she thinks that you're the hottest person ever. The captain of the ship that you play.
So definitely a fantasy game.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's fan service. And she'll be like, oh, Commander, command me. Tell me what to do.
Oh,
I'll go wherever you want. And it's I don't remember you having these lines in the game. You definitely looked fan servicey. And you squealed a lot, but I don't remember you being so sexual. But it's still fun. I'm playing ahead on a separate game just to make sure that I don't get caught up while I'm recording on any of the battles, because some of the battles get really difficult towards the end of the game. And so, I'm seeing all this stuff earlier. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. That's definitely new. That was not there the first time. So it's been a good experience. Just even more kudos to the developers of this game than I've given them already for doing a good job and putting in the time. And I'll talk more about it when we plug our stuff. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of work on these. I'm putting them together completely on my laptop, which is fun. The recording part is easy. This game is so not intense in any way. So recording them is no problem on my laptop. But the actual editing bit and stuff like that, it takes a long time because my laptop kind of sucks. But that's okay. It gives me something that I can do at my downtime in the clinic other than just waste my time on like mobile games or whatever. So yeah, those are all the games we played this week, which means that after
only an hour 8.
An hour and 10 minutes.
Hour 8 on mine, so
yeah.
Hey, we're not too far off our usual time.
No, we're not. We're actually doing all right. Okay, well, let's move on to our first news topic of the night, which is Digital Homicide is dropping the lawsuits and closing their doors.
Excuse me for a moment.
That's what I was doing while you were talking about...
Okay.
Oh.
And I just picked my microphone all over the place. That's going to be interesting to see how that sounds.
I'd be really interested to see the waveform on that.
Let's just put it this way. Red, 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 red.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. You guys were talking about something I had no... I had no bearing on, so I just quietly did that.
Let's put it this way. This is one of those rare times I actually tweeted out on the official Twitter account for our podcast. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, you missed me tweeting this out?
I guess so. I don't remember seeing it. When did you tweet it?
When the story broke a couple of days ago. It was one of those times that I was coherent enough that from my stupor, well, first of all, I just started laughing my ass off.
Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah, I see this tweet now. I completely missed it.
There it is. Yep.
See you, Digital Homicide. Please do forget to write.
So, show of hands, anyone who is surprised by this fact? No hands. Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm surprised that they dropped it. I thought they were going to, drag it out for, as long as they could.
My guess is that they completely ran out of money, 100%. Or they finally managed to talk to someone who was able to get through their thick skulls and explain to them that this was a stupid, stupid idea, and they should just let it go. And
well, considering they shut down the company.
I mean, their company was a stupid idea, too, so whoever they talked to, maybe they had, a conversation with God.
No. I figured it out. They went on Reddit to r/legal advice.
I think this is God performing a modern-day miracle. People say God is dead. He never performs miracles anymore. Well, here's one right here. Digital Homicide.
No.
Figured something out.
No. The miracle would be if they released a game that was worth half a damn.
Fair play on that one.
Well,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I could have told you, and like I said, Rage, you were mostly right when you were talking about this a couple weeks ago.
Right. Let's hang on just one second. For anybody who perhaps missed the episode where we discussed this, or you're a new listener to the podcast, you're just jumping in the middle like we said.
First of all, if you're a new listener, we're sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry either. But anyway, so yeah, if you're a new listener, or perhaps you happen to miss the episode where we discussed this the first time, Digital Homicide was a video game, in air quotes, developer who has a long history of making just garbage, worse than shovelware games,
asset flip games from the Unity store, essentially, and Google Image Search.
Yeah, and trying to censor people who had negative things to say about them. In particular, they've had a long-standing feud with video game pundit Jim Sterling, and he was in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with them before this started. Recently, they went after 100 people on Steam who were giving them negative reviews, and also threatened to sue Steam itself.
Yeah, and Valve doesn't take kindly to that sort of thing. So
nope.
Gaiman woke up and knocked them out like the angry fist of the god that he is, and knocked them completely off Steam, which should tell you exactly just how much they fucked up, because it takes a lot to get knocked off Steam.
Yeah.
Completely. The only other time that I could think of that someone got knocked completely off Steam was the developer that threw a complete shit fit whenever his game went out of early access, and it bugged out, and the icon for his game showed that it was still in early access.
Yeah, and he threatened Gabe with death threats.
Yeah, on Twitter.
Oh, that's
didn't end well.
Smart.
Yeah. So that's a history of
activity. If you're wondering about the game, and let's put it this way: they eventually had to sell the rights to the game to a different company to actually get it listed back on Steam, because Gabe completely refused to allow them back on Steam while that guy still had anything to do with the game whatsoever. And they renamed the game Paranormal Activity Deluxe Atonement Edition.
Yeah. So yeah, for anybody who missed, that's the story that we're discussing right now.
Okay. But like I said, Rage, you weren't entirely wrong. The problem is they can technically go after people for defamation of character, but you have to be able to prove a loss because of it, and you can't prove hypothetical sales. So, I mean, any rational judge would have thrown this out the nanosecond it got into a courtroom anyways. And as far as the whole Jim Sterling thing, Jim was never not going to win this for the same reason that you have lawyers everywhere winning things. It's because they have more money, and you paperwork people into the ground. Like, that's just standard practice when you want something to go away.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim is certainly not like a millionaire, but he makes quite a bit of money every year now off of mostly his Patreon account.
Well, let's put it this way. He was making more money off his Patreon than Digital Homicide was off their games.
Right, but the other thing that he has is he's on a network in YouTube, which has...
No, he's not.
He's not? I thought he was.
Jim Sterling... Well, actually, as far as I know, he doesn't make really anything off YouTube in general.
No, he's got a couple of series that he runs ads on, but everything else he does ad-free.
Oh, no.
It's supported through his Patreon.
No, what I thought...
And he's not a member of YouTube. He used to be part of the of Destructoid and whatever network they were a part of, but that's been a few years ago now.
No. I thought he was part of a different
and the Escapist
network. Not the Escapist, one after that. Point is, there's lawyers on retainer to help him out, so...
No, he's got his own legal counsel. He's talked about it some on his podcast, The Podquisition.
Well, I'm behind the times.
Well, I mean, I just happen to know that because I'm a big fan of Jim
that's kind of the general
Sterling.
thing for YouTubers in general. Is just, if you're part of a major network, you typically have a lawyer on retainer through them. But Jim Sterling is the oddball.
Yeah, he's an exception to the rule. He's 100% independent, and he just maintains his own legal counsel. Because, I mean, Jim is very divisive. Mm-hmm. He's very out there. Mm-hmm. So this is not his first legal rodeo.
Clearly not. Well, beyond that, I mean, his case was such a slam dunk that any lawyer would probably want to take that. But beyond that, I have one thing to say. Go James Stanton, you crazy bastard, you.
Yeah, it was... Oh... Just seeing the unraveling of this over the last few weeks has just been glorious.
Yeah.
Right, and as far as...
show.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
And as far as requesting the Steam user stuff, that was just begging for trouble, because those are effectively sealed records, because they have information, financial information on them. Through credit card transactions. So you would run into the one group of people more powerful than Gaben. Banking lawyers. That combines two boring fields that when combined are just, you ain't winning that. You just ain't.
Right.
Anyways, I gotta say, that strawberry jam on the screen on the article, that looks convincing. I have no idea how these guys went out of business. Their game's very, very obviously looking incredibly high class. Keep it up. Oh, that's sad. Fuck you, good riddance. I'll piss on your grave.
I typically don't like to see these articles, seeing game companies and game developers go out of business. But I'm willing to make an exception this time around.
Well, you don't have to make an exception. These guys stopped being game developers the nanosecond that their modus operandi for cash income was litigation. That's more of a legal tool.
Yeah, it seems like they were trying to just throw out as many games as they could to drum up some controversy and then just start suing people. And I'm sorry, this isn't Germany. This isn't going to go through some sort of legal loophole. You're not Yoi Bowl. You can't just throw out trash and then get the government to pay for it.
Well, actually, that's a good way to make money if you're throwing out, radioactive waste. Their shit was bad, but not that bad. It didn't actively give people cancer, as far as I know.
Did Total Biscuit play these games?
I'm not sure.
Or is that going beyond the realm of good taste?
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah,
we left that behind a long time ago. Okay, well...
are we done laughing at this and going to go on to being angry?
I don't know. Let's find out.
I think so.
Digital Homicide. Yes, apparently we're done laughing.
Okay.
Digital suicide.
Okay, we're done laughing.
Well, good. No more laughter. Serious face. Let's go talk about Steam's super secret
now.
Early access rules.
Taking off my silly pants. Putting on my serious pants. Getting my steel-toed
I'm just taking
serious.
off my pants.
Oh yeah, steel-toed serious boots up in here. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, baby.
Welcome to the sexy part of the podcast. Hey, no laughing. We have news stuff to get through.
That's right.
Sorry, I was thinking about the clown.
All right. Take 2. Or attempt number 2. Steam's super secret early access rules. Go. News.
I love how Jared's just going to start editing things out now.
I'm going to word replace Valve with Clown. So, Clown does not have formal penalties for developers who violate rules of early access, according to a document obtained by PC Gamer. So, essentially, Clown doesn't really go after...
Yeah, this pretty much just confirms that, early access is a complete clusterfuck.
Well, of course it is. I mean, it's the Wild West of game development, because any sort of complaint that could be leveled against a game can be ignored with one 3-letter word, yet. For example, you promised me multiplayer, your game doesn't have it, that's false advertising. My game doesn't have multiplayer yet.
Well, to be fair, No Man's Sky, it's going to be very tough for 2 players to meet one another when multiplayer eventually gets put in, because, there's, 5 people playing right now?
Did you see, I didn't put this on the top of the list because it hasn't happened yet, but did you see that Sean Murray is supposed to be having an interview
Oh, yeah, I saw
Thursday?
This. This is going to be on next week's docket. I don't care what he says. This is going to be on there.
Oh, of course it is. We have to talk about it.
The best case scenario is he's fucking insane. Because that would provide some...
He's a young Peter Molyneux.
Please tell me... Okay. Yeah. I'll take some bets. I'll take a little action. I'll give you 3 to 1 against that he'll cry on TV. And I will give even money for him hyping another game that hasn't come out yet and promising things that sound way too good to be true.
I'm going to say he's going to promise the update's going to fix everything.
I'll give that even money too. And I'll give it 100 to 1 that he admits he's wrong.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right, I know, 100 to 1 against. I'm not paying out that.
Yeah.
You shitting me?
Well, who's paying it out? Because I'm not paying it.
Hey, Rage! Nose goes, man. Nose goes.
Yeah, that's the stupid money. There's no way he's going to admit that he's wrong.
Of course not.
He's in too deep.
Yep.
But plus, here's the thing, is that if he's going to admit that he's wrong, he has to break his radio silence.
That is true. I guess he's really a person who doesn't understand the sunk cost fallacy. Which, for those of you who don't know, is when it's like when you're at a poker table and you keep betting, and you get behind and you start losing money, you don't just get up and walk away and eat your losses. You lose more money trying to win your money back. That's essentially the sunk cost fallacy. It would be smarter to get up and walk away, but you don't because you think you're already too invested.
Correct.
So shall we get back on topic and talk about the guidelines?
Yeah, sure.
Let's talk about Steam's super secret rules.
Okay. Unfortunately, this article isn't that great, and it's not very clear what the guidelines are without doing some really heavy reading into this. But here's one rule. Do not make specific promises about future events. For example, there's no way that you can know exactly when the game will be finished, that the game will be finished, or plan future editions will definitely happen. Do not ask your customers to bet on the future of your game. Customers should be buying your game based on its current state, not promises of the future that may or may not be realized.
Oh, so
boy, that sounds like a commandment, doesn't it?
I was just about to make that joke. Yes, I was going to say, why don't they just, put the VGL podcast fifth commandment right there?
I read that, and I stopped, read it again. It's like, I can see the fucking future.
Well, maybe you shouldn't get involved in this betting pool then.
Because that's pretty much what we said for commandment number 5.
That it is.
Yeah. And here's the thing. How many early access games have you seen that have broken that guideline?
A lot of them.
Yes.
I'm going to say pretty much all of them. It's very rare that you see a game that doesn't promise about the future events.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I mean, even the, at the time, indie darling Kerbal Space Program definitely bet against its own future that way.
Yeah, it's... Okay, let's go down this. Let's see. Early access is a framework of messaging that helps customers identify and learn more about products that are currently under development with the involvement of the community. As a developer, this is useful to help set context for prospective customers and provide them with information about your intentions during early access. Early access is meant to be a place for games that are in a playable alpha or beta state and are worth the current value of the playable build. And the developer plans to continue to develop for release. Boy, how many games have broken those?
Literally all of them. Well, that also dovetails nicely into a question that I wanted to ask you guys tonight on air.
Oh boy.
So, does the ability to update a game, after it's been released or while it's in early access, do you think that helps or harms the gaming industry? Because on one hand, you have early access where it's like, oh, future promises, and, they can, in theory, you can't prove them wrong that they're not going to update, but also you get things like No Man's Sky, which releases in a nigh unplayable state. But
I think it's been a double-edged sword, to be perfectly honest, because there have been games that have been greatly helped by post-release patching and expansions and DLC. I mean, let's look at the latest Civ game, Civ 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was actually going to use that as an example.
The base game of that is a hollow shell compared to Civ 4.
Absolutely.
But the DLC for it had really fleshed it out.
Right, and then beyond that, they retroactively fixed the base game a little bit. Like, obviously they didn't add all the content that you could get from buying the expansions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they did learn from balancing stuff. For sake of example, I remember it used to be you could skip musketmen entirely, but now it forces you to go from swordsman to musketman, and it gives you a couple of more avenues. It's all like in-depth strategy stuff, but the fact of the matter is, if you showed this game to 20 whenever this came out, Kyle, when he was playing it in his college dorm room, it would have blown his fucking mind compared to what he was playing right then.
Yeah.
To the time machine.
Agreed.
To the way back.
That too. Yes, and.
But then you start getting the games that come out in early access and just sit there, or the ones that just get thrown out and have the development roadmap, you're just completely removed and said, okay, this is version 1.1 or 1.0. We're done development now. I'm looking at you, Double Fawn.
Well, the other thing that you think about is projects like the Deadlinger. Yes, I know I'm mispronouncing that. They do not deserve me to pronounce it correctly. Where the Deadlinger...
I detect some animosity there.
A little bit.
Really?
A little bit. Basically, for those of you who don't know, the Deadlinger, which is actually pronounced the Deadlinger, I know that, was this early access build game where they had this roadmap which looked feasible at the time, but then the dev team never released really any updates for it after a certain point, and then they just shit-canned it and kept everybody's money.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Space Base did.
Yeah. I mean, Space Base is technically playable. Deadlinger is not. It is a broken-ass mess.
Right.
Okay, so let's continue on in this. And this is a fair bit of reading, but I think this is going to be fun. Okay, when you launch a game in Steam Early Access, there is an expectation by the customers that you'll continue development to a point where you'll have what you consider is a finished game. We know that nobody can predict the future, except me, because, I predicted the fifth commandment. And circumstances frequently change. This may result in a game failing to reach a finished state. No Man's Sky. Or may fail to meet customers' expectations in some way. No Man's Sky.
Rage, do you have a bit of a cough? It sounds like you're coughing a little bit when you're trying to shit all over No Man's Sky.
Sorry.
Now turn your head.
Now turn your head and prepare your asshole. Give a little cough.
Hey, we have to beat the dead horse to prep it for next week.
Dude, you're beating a pile of giblets at this point.
Yeah, but look at it this way. I'm more fun beating the dead horse than I would be playing that game.
You're beating a bottle of glue that we made from the dead horse.
You're beating some kid's art
on.
project about No Man's Sky that was made from the glue from the horse.
Continuing on, we work hard to make sure that the risk is communicated clearly to customers, but we also ask the developers to follow a set of rules that are intended to help inform customers and set proper expectations when purchasing your game. Therefore, what follows are a set of rules and guidelines that govern the use of early access. These are important things to consider when evaluating whether early access is right for your project, whether you are ready to launch as early access, and how to talk to your customers about your use of early access. This is going to be fun.
All right.
Okay. You must include Steam Early Access branding and information about the current state of your game and on any third-party sites where you are distributing Steam keys for your Early Access game. That seems completely reasonable to me. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to skip the giant paragraph after this.
I'm gonna play
ahead.
devil's advocate if you guys don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay.
Knock yourself out.
The only way I could see this being an egregious overstep of boundaries is if you're advertising on another website like GOG or some other website.
Well, to be fair, the cancer has spread, and even the consoles have early access now.
Right, but my point being, because
and
Steam
I love
is
the
its own
Roxanne
independent
picture
company
you sent, by the way.
without any sort of deals with the other companies, technically that's more of just a guideline than a hard and fast rule. Now, that you can get kicked off Steam Early Access if you fail to do this by Steam's own rules. But
No. Here's the thing: is that as far as I could tell, there are no penalties for not following these rules.
Then they're more like guidelines than actual rules.
Yeah, we're going to get to the guidelines later, and there's some of the guidelines that are fun.
All right, but yeah, like I said, the only way I could see this not working is if GOG was like, "No, you don't have to do that. And fuck it, fuck the customers." It's right in the ear. Yeah, just go.
Yeah, but GOG is actually pretty good about the customers. That's the thing, is that GOG actually is a really good company. I don't deal with them nearly as much as I probably should.
Okay, let me demonize
Mostly because
terrible company then. Comcast Games
how about
Service. Right in the ear, right in the ear. I don't know what's up with ear sex tonight. Moving on.
All the clowns have turned you on.
If only I could be
Yeah,
so
that's
erect.
you, not me. Not turned on by the clowns.
Okay, the next rule is do not make specific promises about future events. For example, there's no way to know when the game will be finished. That the game will be finished. Actually, I think I already read this.
You did.
This was earlier in the article. But yeah, I completely agree with that. Thing is, developers don't follow this fucking rule.
Yep.
It's really shocking that, this is a rule and, Valve doesn't step in and say, hey, you, stop that.
Well, that would require some level of customer service.
Yeah, true. Oh, did you see that the Steam customer service has broken into the store and created a sale? Yeah, it's Fellow Humans. The Fellow Human sale. Where all the robotic games are on sale.
Интересно.
Okay, next up is, if Valve is enabling your early access game, we expect you to have early access game available for sale on the Steam store. Do not offer for sale on Steam any later than you would offer it anywhere else. So do not sell it anywhere else before it's on sale on Steam.
Didn't KSP straight up break that rule?
Well, RimWorld broke this rule.
Didn't the Dead Linger break this rule?
I mean, this is, once again, one of those rules that, you look at and think, that's not a bad idea, but then...
Didn't Ark break this rule?
You start looking at these games and think, wow, a lot of these games that are on sale on third-party sites. And unless I'm completely misreading this. I mean, that's how I'm coming across it, is, don't sell it somewhere else first.
Well, the way I'm reading it is do not offer it for sale on Steam any later than you offer it anywhere else. And that's not idle fact. That's cold, hard speculation right there.
Well, I mean, that's how I was reading it, too, the way that Kyle said it. It sounded to me like, well, if you're going to offer this on other places, put it up on Steam first.
Yeah.
Which, that makes sense. Steam wants their cut of the cake.
Yeah, speaking of taking cuts of the cake, do not overcharge Steam customers. We expect Steam customers to get a price for early access games that are no higher than offered on any other service or website. Please make sure that that's the case. Once again, I'm thinking some of the games that launch that's $100 that slowly tick down their price.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they're
I
ticking
hate
it down
those.
evenly across all platforms, that's shitty but legal.
Yeah. Shoot, now I'm completely blanking on the game. The real-time strategy game where...
Planetary Annihilation.
Planetary Annihilation, that's it. Where they set it for $100 because the Kickstarter to get the beta version of the game was $100 tier, which just seems ridiculous to me.
Look, Planetary Annihilation is fun. It's not that fun.
Yeah, and also they sold a completely separate copy of the game that is closer to what they promised in the Kickstarter. And if you had the original version, you got a discount on the new version, but you didn't get the new version.
Yeah, that was a punch to the gut. I picked it up for $5.
I think maybe. Yeah, I didn't get the new version. I have the old version, and actually never played it.
Well, orbital units are broken in that, because once you get actually like an orbital empire going, essentially you can set up those little donut ring bases around an entire planet and make it kind of a reverse Death Star.
I like this idea.
What, you put planets back together?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're restoring.
You
Okay.
giant,
I can.
you have this
save
giant
this.
stick of glue from us beating No Man's Sky to death. So you have all the glue from No Man's Sky, and you're just piecing the planets back together.
Yeah, and we're just
hoping that one of them is actually worth half a damn to explore, and that there's something interesting on that fucking planet.
There are planets in the game that are basically Death Star worlds, and if you can rebuild them, you're good to go. But in that game was Planetary Annihilation, not No Man's Sky. Don't get excited, kids who play No Man's Sky. But basically, not to get too far off, I can save this. You're trying to return the planet to its natural state with no robots on the surface. That's the reverse Death Star. It's like a halo from hell. Because it's a sphere.
So shall we go into the guidelines for this?
Yes, we should.
Because this is where things start to get interesting.
Sure.
First guideline. Do not launch in early access if you cannot afford to develop with very few or no sales. There is no guarantee that your game will sell as many units as you anticipate. If you're counting on selling a specific number of units to survive and complete your game, then you need to think carefully about what it may mean for you or your team to not sell any units. Are you willing to continue developing the game without any sales? Are you willing to seek other forms of investment? Fuck you, Double Fine.
Yeah, I think 99.999% of game devs are like, well, we're not selling any. We're not going to update it anymore until we sell some.
Yeah, which then you get into a catch-22. Well, you're not updating the game. You're still stuck in early access 3 years later. Nobody's going to be buying the fucking game.
Yeah.
Kyle, any thoughts?
Well, realistically, I mean, you could always find some rich suckers to invest in your games, but yeah, that is a good...
well, that's what Kickstarter's for, isn't it?
I think that whenever games have been in early access and then they go to Kickstarter, they get shunned. And I think that's they should be. It's like, if you want to do a Kickstarter, I think that you should do that at the beginning of your project. Maybe not necessarily at the very beginning, like, hey, all I've got is an idea. But, you got to prototype, that sort of thing. That's when you go to Kickstarter. Not, oh, hey, guys, we've been in early access for like 8 months.
Right. Double Fine, they make Humble Bundles and keep going to Humble Bundle. That's right.
Well, realistically...
Yes, I'm going to continue beating up Double Fine.
Well, realistically, I mean...
Basically because they're the more egregious offender of early access.
Well, realistically, I mean, that's just good business sense. Essentially, you have to ask yourself if your product development cycle can survive with your current fiscal levels. And this is going to get a little bit businessy. So let's say... how do I want to describe this? Okay, so let's say the company I work for manufactures things. And...
Widgets. Manufacture widgets.
My company does not have the trademark on that. So we manufacture things.
You manufacture the thingy-bob.
Copyright pending. I'm sorry, patent pending. So essentially what you have is you need to be able to develop this with your current level of fiscal assets, and that might mean also liquidating some of your internal assets. For case in point, if you really think that your product is going to be able to turn a profit once it's completed, you may need to liquidate some employees or maybe liquidate some properties.
But really, is Soylent Green all that profitable?
Shh! I didn't tell you who I worked for. You figured it out. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know why this is just a guideline. Honestly, if they companies who are doing this don't understand that, they have no goddamn
there's more
right
guidelines down.
anything.
There's guidelines down here that really will make you scratch your head.
These guidelines,
well,
the more I'm reading them, they're just common business sense.
I know. I'm glad that Steam has them somewhere, and I'm not giving this very much praise. I think that this is like, well, duh. I think that Steam should enforce these and punish people who break them. But I'm glad that they have them, because there's a lot of people who, in the last few years, as indie devs, have really swollen and surged in the amount of them that exist. There's a lot of people who are just like, well, the tools exist, I think I'll make a video game now. And have no idea.
Yeah, they have no idea just how expensive it is going into it.
And I think that this is something that is rooted with good intentions, and between the fact that Steam doesn't ever follow through with anything that needs actual human intervention.
I made a comment earlier today on a Twitch stream, just chatting back and forth. And Steam or Valve likes to make systems and then just let them go. Look at the Steam Broadcasting, for example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which, if you're looking at it, you're probably about the only person that is fucking looking at it at the time.
Yep.
The Curator system, they released that, and they're supposedly going to be updating that in the next store update. Well, the group system in general has been just sitting there. You just look at all these systems that Valve has put out over the years and just let sit. It done nothing to develop them. past their initial release. And I think early access is also a symptom of this, where they'll put it out there, and is it working? Kinda. Okay, well, good enough. Let's go make something else.
Sounds about right.
And this is probably a symptom of Valve just being very hands off and having a company where there's no direct boss to anyone. People are allowed to just really float around the company, and I think that's why we're seeing these systems get released and then have no development behind them, because okay, the job's done. That's the interesting part to them. They'll go float off to something else.
Yeah. Again, this is a situation of hell's going to freeze over before this happens, but Steam just needs some good customer representatives to help enforce these rules like they should be and help out struggling devs who, it's like, okay, this is a guide to get us started, but where's more?
Well, I don't know if hell freezing over is anything that special. I mean, it freezes over about once a year here. You know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you live not too far from hell.
I'm about 100 miles away from it.
Nice. Can you see the volcanic ash-spewing mountain from your house?
Nah, the city council's pretty good about keeping that shit within the city limits.
Plus pollution controls,
Well, it's close enough to Flint. Oh, shit, did I say that out loud? Bye, all you listeners from Flint. Nice having you. Enjoy your lead. All insensitivity aside, your situation is horrible. Drink bottled water.
Yep.
Okay, so
where did we get to?
I think we're on. Yeah, we're on the second one now. This is going rather long. I think we're going to get one more news article after this, and then we'll be done.
Yeah.
Mostly because I want to talk about the next one. Make sure you set expectations properly whenever you talk about your game.
Bye, Peter Molyneux. See you later. Hello, games.
Sean
Goodbye,
Murray.
games.
Proper expectations. Proper expectations.
Do I even need to read the paragraph after this?
No,
I can read it.
You don't need to read that.
For example, know that your updates during early access will break save files or make the customer start over with building something. Make sure you say that up front. And everywhere this sells, your Steam keys.
Now, here's one that just blew my mind that this is a guideline, not a fucking rule. Do not launch in early access without a playable game. How is that a guideline?
You said without a playable game, correct?
Yeah. Do not launch in early access without a playable game. If you have a tech demo, but not much gameplay yet, then it is probably too early to launch in early access. If you're trying to test out a concept and haven't yet figured out what players are going to do in your game that makes it fun, then it's probably too early for early access. You might want to start by giving out keys to select fans and getting input from smaller, more focused groups of users before you post your title to early access. At a bare minimum, you'll need a video that shows in-game gameplay. Well, sorry, some games don't even do that.
Nope.
Of what it looks like to play your game. Even if you're asking customers for feedback on changing the gameplay, customers need something to start with in order to have informed feedback and suggestions. That is a fucking guideline, not a rule.
Yep. Jared, to answer the question that you were thinking very loudly, yes, there is actually a game that does this.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you were picking up what I was putting down.
Yes. The Universim, which is a game I am incredibly excited about, because I keep following the development on it, and it looks like they're doing a lot of things right. Now, on their Steam Early Access page, what they have is the standard Early Access box. They have a downloaded demo, which is just kind of showing off all of the engine things that they're doing. And mind you, this game is on my wish list, because I'm very interested in following it. It doesn't stink of No Man's Sky. Point is, whatever. So when it says available, it says coming soon, because they're not actually charging for the game, and you actually can't even buy the game on Steam right now.
Right.
So
yeah, but that's different, because they're not actively selling the game yet.
Right, so this is as close as I can get to not having the game, but even then, they're smart enough to not sell pre-orders, essentially.
What that is they're giving out the keys to reviewers and the focus groups, because
Right.
I've had several games that would be in early access, but haven't been available for sale yet.
Well, it looks like we've got a development team and a Russian dev, and when historically has that ever gone badly?
Depends on how much vodka and squabbling between the teams.
Russian devs are amazing.
Something about time bombs?
I love
don't
all
know.
the poor voice acting.
Okay, quick digression. The voice acting in Metro 2033, way better in Russian than English. Moving on.
Shall we move on to the next guideline, or are we still going to be just goggling at the fact that this is a guideline and not a rule?
I'm willing
I'm
to
good
move
to
on.
move
I've
on.
said about what I want to say about it.
Don't launch in early access if you're done with the development of your game.
What? No shit.
I don't think we really have anything to say there. Early access is not a pre-purchase. So this is basically them saying that early access is meant to be giving feedback and not just pre-purchase your title.
Sorry, go ahead.
Once again, kind of shocking this is a guideline and not a rule.
How many people actually give feedback to early access titles?
I do.
I think it really depends on the game, because Kerbal Space Program probably has the greatest amount of feedback that was given to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it really depends on, just for one, the popularity of the game, because there are some early access titles that I have that, the forums are more, just poking the developers, seeing if they're still alive. Or, just really asking about certain things that more fall into, the developer getting feedback on tutorials that they could do. So it's more, I think it's more of a game-by-game basis, and more open-ended and more difficult games like Kerbal Space Program would be more open to, getting the feedback than, I think of a game that... I'm looking at my game list trying to think, okay, what would be the polar opposite of this? And I don't have my games separated to early access titles. So. But, just more focused titles. A shooter, for example.
Yeah.
Random zombie shooter. It's not going to need nearly as much feedback as Kerbal Space Program would.
Yeah, I mean, Kerbal.
Probably some balancing,
zombie
and that would be it, about it.
Yeah. Kerbal is probably one of the most community-tested things ever.
Yeah. And then, let's see, then they go into the pricing. Pricing of your early access could depend on the nature of your game and what behavior you would like to encourage. Most developers have chosen to start out with a lower price than their target price. This establishes a price that is both fair for the content that is being provided with the intention of the price that will raise over time, as most content is added and the game becomes more polished. Alternatively, some developers have chosen to set their early access price higher than the target price so that they could reach a smaller group of more dedicated fans, also known as suckers. What?
I wasn't expecting that. Also known as suckers. Nice.
And they basically go into the benefits of each one. Enabling early access, which is just really a checkbox in the store page. And that's really about it. So, any comments on this other than what the hell on some of the guidelines? And Valve really needs to sit down and enforce these fucking guidelines.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have any comments, really. You guys really handled that really well. I chimed in a few times, but that's the thing about having a third host. I can just kick back and let you guys do all the work.
You're in the Biff seat right now, so that means you're about to kill the podcast.
How could you, Jared?
Yep. Ollie, I'm going to go
God
all the way, and I'm
damn
just going to shoot my computer. I'm going to kill it dead. Deader than dead.
Just dress it up as a clown. Clowns everywhere.
I really think the thing is that Valve has set these guidelines and then just really have done nothing with it.
Yeah.
But the counterpoint is that playing devil's advocate, it's Kyle's position, but I'll take it over for this time.
Okay.
Is that if they really buckle down on these guidelines, it's going to make getting onto Steam a lot tougher. And several years ago, people were complaining about how tough it was to get Steam games, and now people are complaining about the exact opposite of just how easy it is to get on Steam. So there has to be some sort of middle ground that Valve just hasn't gotten to yet.
Well, it's
mostly because it probably requires some sort of, effort.
There you go. That's what I was going to say.
Shut down half the servers.
That would do it too.
Then
also known as Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right.
So, really anything to say about this, or
I
have
don't
we
think
beaten
so.
this dead horse?
We've
we're
beaten this
dead
art
horse.
project made with the glue of the horse.
Yeah, until it needed to be recycled to become a new bottle of glue.
Then we beat the shit out of that because we dressed it up like a clown. Okay, moving swiftly on.
So,
Right.
moving on to Rats from a Sinking Ship.
Yeah. Although those rats first need to go to the bathroom.
Can I just say one thing before that?
Sure.
5 words. I motherfucking called this.
All right, well, I need a bathroom break, so after that we'll come back and you can talk about how awesome you were at calling it.
Okie dokie. I'm awesome.
All right. Yeah, I'll be right back in a couple
And you're
minutes.
calling it.
I am.
I've drained both of my cups of water and my tea, because when I'm sitting here with nothing, I just keep drinking. And I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, my little bottle of
Chug,
tequila's
chug,
gone, so I
chug, bro, chug.
should probably
So-
go get rid of that.
Yeah, I'll be back in just a couple 3 minutes. Now that I've gone to the bathroom, ate an entire sandwich. I think that it's time for us to go talk about devs leaving Kerbal Space Program.
Okay.
So, in the Rats from a Sinking Ship article,
Which I fucking
Yeah.
called.
Which came before the bathroom break. 8 years ago.
speaking of eight members of the Kerbal Space Program development team are gone.
Yep.
See, this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Simply because when I heard that Harvester was leaving, all of this other stuff with their NDAs came out, and several key devs were getting rotated, like the director of the game. I remember for a while they couldn't keep somebody in that spot, which to me spelled a lot of trouble.
Yeah, they went through how many executive producers in the last year? 3?
I'm not sure, but I'm looking at...
They had Max Maps, and they had Dr. Turkey, and now they have... I can't think of who it is now.
I don't know who it is.
Granted, I will be completely honest. I haven't been paying that much attention to Squad. Mostly, after Kerbalcast kind of committed suicide.
Yeah.
That was my driving force of really paying attention to what was going on in the Kerbal Space Program, because it was more just wait for the next update, which is finally coming out next week. But
There's an update coming
part of
out?
me there's 1.2 coming out on October 11th, a week from when we're recording this.
I'll
Yeah.
look into that later.
I never paid attention to the development of the game outside of your dev notes that you did for Kerbalcast Rage. I never really got into the development. I didn't watch very many of the Twitch streams or anything like that.
Well, I've watched the Twitch streams up until I stopped doing the development notes, but
Yeah.
a lot of the times it was very we did this week. We slightly improved what we did last week. It was very iterative, but that is development. It's very slow. But also, I was doing the dev notes whenever they were still working on getting up to 1.1, which was the 64-bit conversion, which was a lot bigger project than they intended it to be.
Right, as you don't.
But I'm with Kyle on this one. Like, we called this too. We've talked about this several times, and we were like, well, this is probably the signal that bad things are about to happen. Probably devs are going to move on, or
it's Nestor that's or either the current executive producer or about the only guy that's left, because they had an update since I originally put this on the docket earlier today.
Yeah.
Did you read the update?
I did not.
Yeah, I read the update.
Yeah, they have 2 developers, some QA, and the community management team left.
Great.
I mean, wow. I mean, that's gutted the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at these names.
I mean, not that...
It's like Mew, Claw, Porkjet. These are guys that have been there for a while.
Yeah.
And some of these haven't been there for all that long.
I don't know. Some of these names I don't recognize. I mean...
Well, Claw has only been there for less than a year.
Yeah, but I at least knew who he was. I don't know. When did you guys start playing
let's
KSP?
go down the entire list. Mew, Tenawa, Nathan Kell, Cyberrun, which that's one I don't recognize, Romfair, Ironside, Porkjet, and Claw. Those are the ones that are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when did you guys start playing the game? Was it before or after 0.18?
I played it during the early access stage.
Okay.
So did I.
I can offer a slightly different perspective on this, I guess, because I did a lot of the early build stuff because I've been playing since before you needed to pay for it.
Yeah, I played the early build a little bit, then it went paid, and then I kind of stepped away from it for ages. Then I got it on sale for $15 after they put maneuver nodes in, if I recall correctly, or just before they put maneuver nodes in. I know it was around the maneuver node
that
update.
Would be 0.19 was maneuver nodes. No, 0.18 was maneuver nodes.
Yeah, I jumped in late. I jumped in at 0.9.
So when I was doing this, it was a lot smaller community back then. You have to understand that. But a lot more of us had sort of well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but a lot of us had the technical wherewithal where if we found a repeatable bug, we were usually pretty good about reporting it. And then they also segregated the community into both people who would get the version of the game early, and those were your more technically minded people who actually had the time to develop or time to commit to finding the repeatable bugs before the update went out. And I have fond memories of that. It was a lot of fun, but as the game got closer and closer to release, the quality of the game stayed the same, but the innovation of the game also kind of stayed the same. So I'd essentially played the game for 3 years before it came out, is what my problem was.
That's kind of the problem with early access.
Yep.
I know it was technically not early access when you started playing it, but yeah, you start getting that burnout before the game is even released. That's part of the problem with the early access version of a lot of multiplayer shooters. Look at Toxic, for example. Before it went essentially free-to-play or semi-free-to-play, it had dropped off to almost no players just because the community played it for ages. Actually, I need to look at what the current player numbers is for that. So,
is it higher than Evolve?
Well, that's not fair anymore because Evolve is kind of gotten its numbers back. Our new Whipping Boy is Battleborn.
Is it higher than Battleborn?
I don't know.
I'm looking it up now.
Yep.
Or trying to. I hate games that do weird spellings of common words.
Well, the thing that strikes me is, while you guys are looking that up, the thing that strikes me is very weird about this article about the development team walking out, essentially. Well, not walking out, but a good chunk of them. Is they're treating this like some kind of good event in the company's
I'm going to go with no on Battleborn.
Okay. And they're treating it like some kind of good event. Like, it's thank you all for the incredible community support. All good things must come to an end. Since the beginning, developers have been coming and going, some staying longer than others. Development has never stopped. Thank you, the producer. And it seems like they're really brushing off this revolving door, which, yes, while you do want new faces in to drive innovation and to keep your idea pool from getting stagnant, this level of just employee turnover is, I would say, unsustainable.
It leads credence to the previous rumors, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
I'm assuming both of you have played Portal 2 at some point.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned Portal 2.
All right. Well, the point I was...
Because I literally just sent that to Jared this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, you did. I haven't played it, but...
All right, well, not to spoil too much, but there is a section in which you see a sign, and I've definitely posted the sign on Twitter before. In case of implosion, look directly at implosion. And I mean, if you want to see what it looks like as a company is about to make its final plunge, or at the very least is taking on more water than is reasonably sustainable if it's not a submarine, just take a look at Squad right now. They're bringing the Coast Guard on and then stealing the Coast Guard's boats. That's exactly what's going on right here.
Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous, just the amount of people that they've lost in the last 6 months.
That is an attrition rate comparable to a very small natural disaster.
I was going to say a North Korean factory.
Nah, North Korean factories have a higher attrition rate than that.
Yeah, but those guys die.
Yeah, attrition's attrition.
Fair play.
Fair word.
Yeah, and in case you were wondering about the player numbers for Toxic versus Battleborn, which Toxic may turn into a whipping boy now that I look at it.
All right.
41 players for Toxic.
Oh, Jesus.
197 for Battleborn.
Okay, that's not that much better. It's more than double for sure, but...
But to be fair, all-time peak for Battleborn is just over 12,000. Toxic is 1,300, almost 1,400.
Okay. So, I mean, we're looking at a smaller player base, but at the same time you had that fatigue that just comes with people playing games.
And to be fair, also Battleborn, had a lot of a push behind it.
Yep, because they stupidly tried to compete with Blizzard at Blizzard's own game. But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, but I just thought it would be interesting. And since I mentioned Toxic as a good example of that, and you could just look at the Steam charts and see a huge drop off of players when it first launched. That 1,300, and then immediately within a couple of weeks went down to 200 to 100 players.
Yeah, that's definitely a drop-off.
But that's also maybe just indicative of lack of content as well, which I will say that I never played Toxic, and honestly have really no interest in Toxic, especially with this lower player count, because that's going to be the hardcores only at this point.
Pretty much. I mean, at this point, you might even buy Call of Duty Black Ops or some shit. But that's just because you know people who play it.
As a matter of fact, the peak is not even when it originally went on early access. The peak is when they put out the free version, and it went from 1,300 to 200 within just a couple of days.
Well, maybe people got disenchanted. Who knows?
That is just a huge, huge drop off. That's probably more just content lack of quality than anything else. And it may not be a good example of early access burnout with a multiplayer shooter, but it's the same general idea.
Well, especially with something like that where you're not actually crafting more of a story, you're crafting a multiplayer platform, you need to be damn sure that that's going to be able to sustain itself on low player numbers.
And you also need to be sure to be able to get content out on a regular basis, especially for a multiplayer shooter.
Yeah, absolutely. A game that comes to mind like this that definitely took a couple hits from the stupid stick is Payday 2. Now, Payday 2 can sustain itself hypothetically.
Payday 2 took some hits from the stupid stick from their publisher.
Yeah, I know that. 505 Games is just... never mind. Okay, I could talk about that.
I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. So I'm listening to you guys. I searched Toxic on Steam.
All right.
Just to see what came up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on the list, No Man's Sky.
That's amazing.
Oh, okay. Now I gotta look up the Steam charts for No Man's Sky.
I think it was below 200 players, or no, it was 2,000. It was under 2,000 players.
Current players 100, or sorry, not 100, 729. It would be hilarious if it was 129.
Less than Battleborn. All right. I know it's not actually. But my point is, Payday 2 understood what it wanted to be when it started out.
Well, I just wanted to interrupt here.
Sure.
It may be still more than Battleborn, but it's still a hell of a lot more of a drop-off. It started off with a peak of 212,000.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's less than 1%. That's less than 0.5%.
Well, that's what happens when you lie to your customer base and then become tight-lipped. Shit happens, man.
Loose lips sink ships, man. He's just trying to keep a ship afloat.
Damn straight. Except,
So let's go back to the sinking ship.
Maybe you make sure that your ship isn't, like 3 inches across and like 6 years high.
Yeah.
Buoyancy doesn't work
with
that way.
18 quintillion bland planets inside.
Yep. Because big numbers are impressive, guys.
Absolutely. Always.
Just keep adding zeros, bitch.
Love me them big numbers.
Big numbers with clowns. Big clown numbers. 18 quintillion clowns. All right, moving on.
Out of a single clown car.
Clown spaceship.
All right, I
think I've seen that movie.
All right, talk.
They wrap people in cotton candy and suck their brains out with a crazy straw.
That was Killer Clowns from Space.
I know that. I was referencing that.
How have we gotten all the way back to clowns?
All right.
How did this happen? We were talking about Kerbal Space Program,
18.
developers, and somehow this turned back into clowns.
Million.
No,
billion,
let's not do this.
Trillion.
Let's not do this.
Poor Jared.
All right. So are we done talking about Kerbal Space Program?
Okay, so 10,000.
I think so. I mean, there's really not a lot to say outside of it's not exactly surprising that this has happened, and I wonder if the 8 people that left, if they're going to work on their own separate projects, or if they're going to try to work together in their own project. On a singular project, because I think that's going to be the more interesting thing of what's going to happen here. Just what's going to happen to these people once they leave or after they left.
Yeah.
Because they made a hell of a game.
Oh, yeah.
As much problems I've had with Squad with their practices in the last 6 months or so, with all the news that's coming out about them, Kerbal Space Program is a hell of a game, and probably the best example of an edutainment game that just doesn't beat you over the head with learning. It lets you learn at your own pace.
Or crash and burn at your own pace. But
yeah.
Realistically, I completely agree with you. I feel like Kerbal Space Program, regardless of what happens with Squad, is strong enough that somebody would pick it up and continue development. Now, if that develops in a way that we, as the community who plays the game, would enjoy, or if it would start becoming more of like just microtransaction-laden mess, that remains to be seen.
Do you think we're going to see Squad sell off the rights to Kerbal Space Program?
I 100% believe that is going to happen within the next year and a half. Because Squad, I believe, is going under.
Well, remember, Squad isn't just a game development company. This is the game development branch of I'm blanking on the term that they used.
Which term? In the article, or
no, not the article, but what Squad was originally before they turned to game development.
They were a software studio, right?
No, I thought they were a public relations company.
Okay, public relations. I think that's the term that I was looking for.
Oh.
Yeah, this Kerbal Space Program was essentially a hobby for Squad.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm saying Squad, I'm talking about the video game arm of Squad getting shut down. They might survive as a PR, but honestly, with this attrition rate, maybe not.
Honestly, if they're a PR company, they're not doing exactly a great job with it.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've said about all all I think I can say about that without circling.
Do we want to quickly dive into the next topic, or immediately go to community?
Let's go
corner?
to community corner.
Let's go to community corner.
But before we get to community corner, Jared, 18
Yes.
quintillion clowns getting out of a clown car at the rate of one clown every 5 seconds would take 114 million years to get all the clowns out. Why? Because math.
Well, would they all be able to get out? Because I think they would eventually just die off.
I'm making really sad faces right now.
I'm assuming we have some sort of immortal clowns that just can't die and can continually entertain people forever. Now he's making a scared face. Alright.
I'm shaking my head.
Jared, I am kind of done with clowns, I think, for a little while. Unless I mentioned them in my audio letter. Which would be a coincidence, I promise you.
Yeah. Well, let's just move on from that. Just go to our community corner. We were going to have an audio letter from you, but you're here.
Yeah,
So let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm shelving that whole October thing.
That's fine.
There is not enough out there that doesn't just boil down to, not only can I tell you that this shit is bullshit, I can tell you who made the bullshit. So that's not interesting.
Oh, the one rumor that always interested me, that actually kind of turned out to be true, only in a different way than people intended, was the Mew rumor from the original Pokemon games.
Oh, the truck, yeah.
Yeah, that fucking truck.
All right, well, that was kind of a weird thing. I think they put it in there just because it would reward people who managed to do the social aspect of the game and get cut from one of their friends so that they wouldn't have the SSN leave the dock. And so it was kind of a reward for people who broke the game in that way. The actual way that
it would have been a lot more interesting if there was something there to reward them with as well.
Well, keep in mind, the Game Boy isn't exactly a powerhouse, and Pokemon is a massive game by those standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was actually a way to get Mew through this very long, convoluted series of steps.
Yep, ending near Lavender
essentially
Town.
Memory edit.
Basically, yeah. I had a friend who had Mew. I think he used a Game Shark to get it. But no, there was a way to get Mew. I just never did it. The truck was definitely bullshit. It was weird, but it was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing I was going to ask was the whole constant updates. Are they good for gaming development and the gaming community? Like patch 1 or day 1 patches or early access able to provide updates as time goes on. But we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Well, the day 1 patching is more of just a holdover from the consoles these days, because they have to put out the gold edition of the game, but after that's done, they're able to still work on the game to work on the day 1 patch.
Sure, and don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily condemning this action. I think that anything that needs to be done in order to make the game the best possible version of the game that it can be is good, but it also gives kind of shitty developers leeway to release, I don't know, say a game with 18 quintillion planets in it.
Well, I was going to say, Ubisoft release a broken hot mess of a game by the name of Assassin's Creed.
Absolutely.
And then subsequently fix it. I mean, I think that
they actually fixed that? Last I heard, it was still a broken mess.
I thought that it got fixed.
They said it did.
I don't know. It doesn't. Whatever. Day 1
I remember
patches
the Total Biscuit video of SLI causing all the water to flicker. That was fun.
Yeah, but that was when the game released.
No, that was several months afterwards.
Huh.
Oh. Well, I think that it all got fixed. I think. Not 100% on that one. But regardless, I think that day 1 patches and then continual game patching overall is good. It can and has led to some negative side effects.
Did Assassin's Creed Unity get fixed?
Like lazy developers and stuff like that. But in the end, I think that it is a huge value add for any game that the dev takes the time to do that. You know, you can get bug fixes now, weeks, months, years after the game released, new content added to the game for certain developers who happen to be actually really good about that sort of thing.
Sure, like the Civilization game. Civilization 5, where they would, like, oh, this is unbalanced, we're going to rebalance this.
Or Terraria. Terraria was what I was thinking of.
Well, la-di-da. Just go ahead and name-drop series you played in. Jesus. Fucking YouTube A-lister, motherfucker.
Yeah, I wish. Jeez. But, yeah. I think overall it's better than it is worse. And I do tend to like early access games. You're
also a lot more forgiving.
Yes.
I'm really forgiving for games that have issues.
Yeah, see, I'm a pain-in-the-ass, hard-ass critic most of the time. If there's a game that tickles my funny bone, then I'm a little bit more lenient on it.
I think I fall...
Yeah.
Or especially if it has a good price point to it.
Yeah, I think I fall kind of in the middle of you two. I've learned... Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. As Rage reached out his hand to touch Jared, suddenly that one guy lay between them. All right, moving on. But,
You're really trying for that fan
a little
fiction,
bit, yeah.
aren't you?
So, I've been burned a lot by early access, so I'm a little bit more frugal, and I will never be the first to adopt a game in early access. I'll wait to hear what other people say about it now. But I do tend to forgive it if I think that there is actually the possibility, with both the skill of the dev and the realistic roadmap that they would produce, dictating whether I think the game is worth my purchase or my time.
Right.
Because,
well, I mean, there's
caveat emptor.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of caveats that apply to early access games, but, I'm take my time, do my research, and then I'm also pretty forgiving about flaws in games. Unless it's just, like, absolutely 100% broken, or just turns out to be awful, then I'm fine.
As you do. Okay.
Okay, well, good talking and things more.
We done did talking.
We do have one other piece of audio content this week. That is from our new resident character, Crash, who is going to be telling us all about Call of Duty stuff, zombie stuff. So let's hear from Crash, and we'll be back in a minute.
What's up, everybody? This is Crash's latest Dude Bro Tips. Today we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. So, okay, maybe you fire up zombies and it's your first time and you're in Kino der Toten and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Alright, so here's what's going to happen. There's going to be zombies that come in, and as you kill them, you get more points to buy more sick guns. So in the 2 base maps with blobs for zombies, you're going to have 2 gun choices in the first room. You're going to have the Olympia, which is a shotgun and better for players who aren't quite confident in their skills. But for those of us who are lead as shit, we choose the M14. So as you rack up more points, you're going to have the option to open some doors. So here's what you do. You open the doors, that's going to get you the closest to a shotgun called the Stakeout. Now in some maps, there's going to be an assault rifle in the room before the Stakeout. Don't go for that. Only fucking idiots go for that rifle. I cannot stress how much it is a stupid move to go for that rifle. So once you pick up the Stakeout, you're going to need to go find yourself your point-racking SMG. Now I usually go for the MP5 or MP40 depending on the map. And the whole idea here is you're going to fire indiscriminately into a crowd of approaching zombies. You're going to want to fire at about head-to-neck level in order to get a few headshots, but more importantly, you need to be racking up points as bullets go into one zombie, out of that same zombie, and into the zombie behind it like a fucking boss. Which brings me to my most important point for you fucking scrubs out there. What's a pain train? Okay, so here's what you need to do. You need to find either a circular room or a series of rooms that forms kind of a circuit. You're going to need to not really sprint, but move fairly quickly between these rooms, making a train behind you. Every so often when you get to a straightaway, you're going to need to turn around with the point-racking SMG, and like I said, just fire indiscriminately at that shit. Not only does this rack you up a bunch of points, it makes you feel like a real fucking manly man. Alright, well this has been Crash, signing off.
Yeah, I'm really starting to think that you need to make a Dolphin Twitter account.
I do have a drawing, and I could always pay Dominic to make an actual little Kerbal icon. And like
that would be
Blender.
cool.
I should do that.
That would be cool.
I should do that.
Yeah, so what's
I'm
it
just
like
giving you more and more projects.
What's it like to have an alter ego as like as a Kerbal? Who plays Call of Duty and is very different from all the other Kerbals.
Okay, I don't know if this is Franken content or if you're just adding this in afterwards, but...
Nope, this is real. We're live.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. It's kind of weird. I've never really had just like a character that I've kept separate from me on any sort of show. I've always tried to be very genuine.
Yeah.
Which sounds like me just kind of waxing eloquent about the process. But it is kind of cool in that I'm allowed to embrace my inner backwards trucker hat wearing guy and then fuck around with the audio levels to make it a lot funnier. Because anybody who actually knows me, I mean, you and Jim can back me up on this. I'm not like that. I am not a dude bro gamer at all.
No, absolutely
Wait,
not.
you're not?
Dude, bro, come on, man. Play along for the camera, bro. The podcast camera. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about, bro. But I guess it kind of stems from when I was doing a lot of voice acting back in college for a radio program. I'm sure there's tapes of that somewhere. I'll try and dig them up. But yeah, it's really weird. It is 100% bizarre because it is something I've never really done before this.
Right.
Also, it's very hard for me not to just bust out laughing between takes when I'm recording it, which it makes it a lot of fun, but it also makes it really hard to record because it's like, the fuck did I just say? That's ridiculous.
Nice.
The one thing I would like to definitely come across, now obviously I doubt that the demographics of the show, you're reaching a lot of the types of people that Crash is a mild parody of. It's all in good fun. Every gamer is a gamer. I don't judge like what kind of games people like. You know, like what you like. Life is short. But
yeah, but the thing is that we are going to make a Patreon reward to get your address if you wish to beat up Kyle.
I am a licensed firearm owner. Just warning people about that now. I'm a decent shot, and I can 8-ring it most of the time.
Well done.
Thank you. The process,
Okay.
you see, going... sorry, Jared, you were saying something?
Yeah, let's move on to the
So the
tweets.
process... Okay, sorry. I'll stop doing that.
I'm just looking at the time. It's almost 2. We've still got 2 more sections of the show to do.
Sounds like somebody should have took a nap.
I
Like me.
wish I could have.
Yeah, rage. Nap high five. Yeah.
Yeah, nap.
Woo!
Well, getting into the tweets, we had a question of the week. Where do you think Valve needs to improve the Steam store the most? This was kind of an extension of a question of the week from a couple weeks ago where we talked about where reviews could be improved. We only had one response from Supe.
Hey, Supe.
For me, the ability to filter out the storefront, even more as I use Linux and still have to wade through Windows-only titles. Which, yeah, the filtering does need to be worked on, and I believe that's going to be something that they're going to be working on in the Steam Store revision.
I think...
any comments from you guys?
Yeah.
For the question of the week?
Yeah, they need to tighten up their algorithms a little bit.
I agree.
Because what it does...
For me, with my absolutely massive library, it just goes, fuck it. I'm just throwing everything at you.
Well, pretty much.
Yep, I get the same thing.
Yeah, because in my recommended for me queue, I'll have played, God, I don't know, Shadows of Mordor, which has a bit of a semi-equestrian component to it, where you're riding around beasts, and now I've got a couple of games where it's like, Show Horse Simulator. I'm like, no, I'm not even close to interested in that. Then there's Cluster Truck. It's like, hey, you know Caffeine Rage. He has a video on this. Play this fucking game. I'm sorry, play this trucking game.
Play this cluster trucking game.
Oh! Okay. No. But yeah, so like I said, if they tighten up their algorithms, I think it could be a little bit better. And realistically, the only way that they could improve those anymore is if they forced you to take a little quiz and give them feedback, like every couple of months, like, hey, this is the queue that we wanted to recommend. Which of these do not appeal to you? Just click, 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 and then it updates your algorithm based on that. So let's say Kerbal Space Program, it gives me like, here's Space Marine Dipshit Wars 5 or something. And it's like, yeah, I have no interest in that.
Right.
I mean, Space Marine Dipshit Wars 4 was amazing. Then they stagnated.
Okay.
Well, I think we pretty much agree that their algorithms are just all over the place and need to be worked on. For me, I'm going to say the Steam tags need to be looked at heavily.
Oh, absolutely.
And get rid of all the people using them to mark children's games as psychological horror.
Yep. Hashtag agreeathon.
So let's see tweets. This one came in as we were recording the last show, so sorry, Ghost Shark. But he said, in honor of Elon's presentation today, last week, I'm inspired to run a reusable Duna colony when KSP 1.2 goes live, so that'll be next week.
What in the actual shit is KSP 1.2?
The next version of KSP.
Yeah, no shit.
Moving on.
Yeah, the main thing is going to be additional...
I can look it up. Just moving on.
What, we're not going to keep Jared up for another hour and a half?
No, the clowns will do that. Sorry. I promised I would.
I didn't believe you.
Let's see. You and Jared started talking about being born in the same year, yet you're his father.
Yep.
If you wish to see more about that, go check out the Rimton colony on RimWorld on my YouTube channel. Gaming with Caffeine Rage. Ding.
Okay.
Ding.
Ghost Shark, in response to our Game Club poll, which is still ongoing, he proposes a write-up of Costume Quest. It's a holiday classic, and it'll give another reason to break it out again. Which, I don't own Costume Quest.
I do not either.
I have Costume Quest.
Is it fun?
And honestly, I'm not going to give Double Fine more money.
Hold on.
Unless I really have to.
I might actually own this and have forgotten I bought it.
I know it was in a couple humble bundles at some point.
Never played it.
Yeah, I guess I'm the odd man out there. So if you guys wanted to do that, go for it. But I still need to get Path of Exile up and running. I just haven't been able to play much of anything the last really week and a half.
Yeah, I can't wait to shit all over that game next week.
Just take a big old squat and dump over it.
Well, just remember to eat plenty of fiber.
Or don't. Or don't.
Good job, Jared. You passed your first examination for the official Polish word pronunciation certificate. As right as you can be with English phonetics. I wrote C as TS because it's the closest as the German Z.
Yep.
So yeah, and then Chemist just starts talking about the way words are written there, and do you really want me to butcher more of that?
Yes.
Such as W as V, C as TS, L as W. He wrote it phonetically as Bortiswald, and I probably still horribly butchered that, separating the single sounds. We use a crossed L for a W sound that is in English. Is often written as L because people just can't be bothered, which it just completely throws me off on top of my poor pronunciation.
Right.
Groove has a novel here. Schadenfreude. First of all, yes, I am that far behind right now, and that's mainly because of my phone being broken, and I had to wait on getting spare parts to arrive, and I had to be able to repair it. But now it's repaired, and I'm working on catching up on all the podcasts I've missed. Also, as you weren't sure, yes, I am German, and I know very well how to spell Schadenfreude. To be more precise, I'm from Baden-Württemberg. And he says spell that, Rage, but I could copy and paste that.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a weird U here that I don't see on my keyboard, so I would have to copy and paste.
Oh, the umlaut, yeah.
Yeah, fucking umlaut.
So that was Groove?
The squiggly symbol.
No, this is the double.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm thinking
this
of
the
the
double dot.
Yeah.
It's the one that makes mun into the moon.
Right, because it makes it the UE diphthong.
Tee-hee, you said thong.
Anyway, moving swiftly along, should we just skip the Kyle stuff?
Yeah, skip it.
Okay.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, wait a damn second. My asshole.
Fuck that
If
one
my
guy.
weekend at Spin Towers of Black Ops Zombies has taught me anything, it's using a truck to survive zombie hordes works very well, unless there's a slight gradient. Sorry,
Okay.
couldn't resist.
No, you're good, man.
And Kyle also talked about Mass Effect.
Oh, Jesus. That book.
New Mass Effect conspiracy theory. Heat sinks are implied as a universal heat recycling program. By canning the heat from guns as they fire, the races of the galaxy are forestalling the heat death of the universe. I mean, that has to be it. Apparently, these things never cool off, evidenced by the fact no one ever uses one as it's cooled off. So either it's a crib bar in mechanic that EA demanded, or hashtag heat death truth, hashtag tinfoil hat. And then you two started going to talking about a business of making volcano layers out of
Which, by the way, where do we land on that, Jared?
Where do we land on what?
The volcano layer.
making volcano layers out of used heat sinks.
Well,
I personally disagree with the name. Magma Limited, really?
what about Magma
Unlimited?
Unlimited?
Well, no, because
Now that sounds like
there
Dwarf
is a
Fortress.
physical limit on these mags.
I mean, we just dig
Not
a
with
bigger
that
hole
attitude.
and pitch some more in it.
I say we just fund more war, but that's me, in order to get more of these things used.
Yeah, that works. Why not?
Then let's see, the Crash comic that I retweeted.
All right, do you want me to do a voice on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to be Cube or do you want to be me?
I think it'd be weird if I was you. So.
Yeah, let's do that. Go for it. All right, fine.
Brah, it's fall.
All right, yeah.
Time for the meeting and pull up all over with all the popped up collar, brah.
Dude, bruh, that would land us all the chicks. Pro tip, dude. Chicks always love a popped collar, bruh.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Not gonna sugarcoat that.
Well, it's also, I have this written out a little weird because I just copy and paste the text.
As you do.
Let's see, Be Cool talked about digital homicide, committing suicide and all the legal documents. Pro C legal documents are so fun to read. Also, James R. and not digital homicide is the plaintiff. But what does one expect from pro sec work? And then Chemist received an email from a friend of a friend for people with Unity experience for any dev studio startup. Interesting. A couple emails later, we'll stay in touch. Sounds like we should totally buy a bar plan, but probably the end of the story.
That sounds a little sketch,
Yeah.
but guys, no. We should totally buy a bar.
And if you was to join in all this madness, you could tweet us at VGL Podcast on Twitter or email us, which you don't have to be Crash to be able to email us, by the way.
Nope, you can be anybody.
VGLpodcast@gmail.com.
Sock puppet videos are welcome.
Clown sock puppet
Jesus.
videos. It's your choice where the sock is.
Put it on the doorknob.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, now that that's out of the way, let us blow through our Steam weekly deal discussion recommendation. Kyle, did you have anything?
It's not really a weekly deal, but I'm finally going to be able to sell my trading cards in like 8 hours. Actually, exactly 8 hours. So I'm looking for deals. And the only one I really found was it looks like the War Games franchise are on sale, but it's going to be out of sale by the time the podcast comes out. So, no,
Right.
I've got nothing.
Okay. Well, Rach?
All right, my first one is Teleglitch, the Die More edition.
Okay.
This is this is a game that you'd absolutely hate because it's a top-down 2D shooter.
That is correct. I would hate that.
But it's also roguelike, roguelite, really. Very fast-paced. It's it's right in the title. You're going to die a lot in this game. It's very luck-based, like a lot of roguelites are. And it really depends on really just how well you know the game and its different mechanics. Because, for example, being able to spot where hidden rooms are just from the little cracks in the wall as you walk past them
Right.
You have to. It really requires you to develop that sense for it, and until you do, you're going to miss a lot of content.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fairly simple game, and it's one of these games that I don't recommend it at full price, but unless you're a very big fan of the genre. But at sale price, it dips down to low enough that I think it's worth a try. It's normally $12.99. It's 75% off right now. Bring it down to $3.24.
Okay. Well, my first game is a game by the name of Dark. Dark is...
Dark what?
Just Dark. I know, that'll make it difficult to find unless you follow the link.
So is that like Just Dark, like Just Cause, or Just Dark as in dark, but just dark?
The second one.
Okay.
Anyways, Dark is a sci-fi... Well, I guess it'd be more fantasy. A fantasy stealth game where you play someone who is a vampire, and you have to complete levels in order to get things or assassinate certain people, whatever. It depends on what the mission is.
Quick question. How sparkly is this vampire?
He's not sparkly at all. Zero
Okay.
sparkle.
How mopey is this vampire?
Pretty mopey.
Okay, so we're at least checking one of the boxes.
Yeah. But anyways, so what you do, you go through levels, complete your objectives, pretty simple stuff. But you get to use your whole host of vampire powers, which can start, pretty small, like, okay, I can teleport this very short distance over here. Or I can make myself sound quieter so that I don't have to be quite so sneaky. And there's some
Or I can mope slightly less.
Yeah. There's some pretty nifty powers too that do some pretty cool stuff, but I don't want to spoil any of those in case you buy the game. The story is mediocre at best, with voice acting that is at times talented, but rest of the time is just funny.
Intentionally or unintentionally funny?
Unintentionally funny.
Oh, that's the best kind.
But it does have a pretty decent stealth system, and it has a pretty decent combat system where that if you get spotted, you don't die immediately. But it's not like Assassin's Creed where you can kind of tank around and take on 30 guys at once because they wait patiently to attack you one at a time. It's like this is a pretty involved stealth game, and they do not want you to fight other people. So it's got a lot of things wrong with it, if I'm honest. It's like, like a 50 to a 55, if it was in school. But
I don't know about you, but that seems like a failing grade.
For the price that it's at $1.50, it's definitely worth $1.50.
All right, $1.50.
Yep. All right, Rach, what's your second game?
Okay, my second one is Detective Gamar. This is a point-and-click adventure, adventures mystery game. Pretty short, just a few hours long. So it's another one of those that is a lot more attractive with its sale price, even though it's not very expensive to begin with. I haven't played a ton of it. It's one of these games that's been perpetually on my to-play list for the YouTube channel for ages.
Right.
But it's also 4 or 5 hours long at most, and that's mostly dependent on how quickly you solve the puzzles in it. It's a detective game. You're trying to figure out the mystery of this tourist trap that the caregiver of it got murdered by potentially a mythical beast. You're trying to figure out the truth behind it.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting premise. It's the art style is a little wonky. It doesn't look terrible, but at times, especially the opening scene, they reuse the assets, so it looks like 2 or 3 different guys are in the same boat at the same exact place of it.
Right.
All right.
So it's definitely not a high budget title, but I think it's worth the sale price, or at least worth a look at if you're a fan of point-and-click adventures and don't mind it being a bit on the short side. It's normally $6.99. It's 75% off once again, which brings it down to $1.74.
Excellent.
Sounds reasonable.
Well, my second game is Tech Wars Online. Tech Wars Online is a turn-based strategy game that has mechs at it. This game
You going up to the bet game? No.
This game is oddly balanced. It's like everything is even, which it's been designed that way. It's been designed to have zero luck incorporated into it. It's all about skill of placement, skill of, basically choose your own engagements, that sort of thing. It's got a decent multiplayer community. Like, there's not a lot of people playing on Steam, but in Europe and certain Asian countries, it's on tablets, and so that's where a lot of the population comes from. It's got
also has crossplay.
Yeah, it's got a campaign mode with 20 missions in it, which you will skip because it's not very good or interesting or have anything cool.
Wow, you're really selling this game.
I mean, this is like the vanilla of games. It's very, very plain. It all comes down to positioning and making sure you've got enough ammo for your weapons, because you have to refill your ammo after every battle, and fuel and other things. But whenever it's playing, it's great. There's enough weapon variety to give you something different to try. It is incredibly fair. It does not feel very imbalanced. I feel like every weapon that's there has a purpose. So, it is... Let me pull it up here so I can look at the price. It is normally $9.99. It's currently $2.50. I would suggest you watch a couple of trailers or a couple of Let's Plays or something for this game before you buy it, just to make sure that you're going to be okay with it. I mean, I suppose you could always use the refund system, but why inconvenience yourself if you don't have to?
Does it come off as a mobile port or a tablet port?
Sort of. I could see where this game would work with a tablet if you just remove the mouse and just play it with a tablet. But at the same time, it feels like they were trying to make a PC port and got it wrong.
Oh, that's upsetting.
So it's got elements of both.
Okay, and that wraps up the weekly sale picks. If you wish to see our past sale picks or just the other games that we talked about, they will be on the curator eventually. I'm way behind on doing that.
Yep, me too.
Unfortunately. But it is a subsection of our Steam group, which is steamcommunity.com/group/VGL podcast.
Right. And we move on to the one section of the podcast where I always get to go first, and that is including Kyle. Screw you, Kyle. I get to go first. What's going on our channels and things for the week? So, as I mentioned at the very beginning of the show when I was talking about games that I played, Sunrider Mask of Arcadius. I've got 3 episodes ready with some post-commentary, some editing, that sort of thing. I'm going to start scheduling those, I believe, for Saturdays. I haven't decided what day I'm going to publish them. Obviously, it can't be Friday because of the podcast, and it can't be Sunday because that's my regular review day. But
wait, I can't put out other stuff on podcast day?
I mean, you could, but I choose not to. So I'm thinking Saturday would be a good release date for it. So I think this Saturday will be the first episode, which I'm following some pretty simple principles unless I receive feedback telling me to do otherwise. The first is I'm not narrating. I hate watching Let's Plays of visual novels and stuff where the Let's Player is just reading everything that the characters say. That frustrates me because I use my own voices in my head based on what I think the characters should sound like and that sort of thing. So it's the dialogue.
So how many characters sound like either me or Kyle?
All of them.
Awesome.
The dialogue bits are a bit slow if you're watching it, simply because I'm thinking, well, not everybody reads as fast as I do. So I'm going slow through those. But during the battle sequences, there is some commentary where I discuss a little bit what's going on. Not during the first one because it's a training mission, but the actual battles from later on in the game. So it's mostly pre-Let's Play, I guess, where I wrap up what happened in the previous, or summarize what happened in the previous episode and give a very, very general brief overview of what's about to happen. Then any comment in the middle about battles and things like that. And then at the end, hey, if you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me money on Patreon because I'm cool. But I'm really excited. I've really enjoyed playing this series again. It's been years, 2 or 3 years since I've actually played it, so it's nice, and I'm doing something fun with it. And that's basically how I run my YouTube channel. Is it fun or not? And then other than that, it's just usual stuff. Obviously, the podcast will be Friday. All of you will get to see and or hear that. And more of the usual with kind of a heavy lean towards MechWarrior. I'm looking at the test drive stream, or not the test drive, the crew stream, trying to decide if I want to post it or not. It looks pretty bad.
A lot of dropping?
What'd you say?
A lot of frame drops?
Yeah, a decent amount of frame drops, and it's just fuzzy. Like, it's very clear that rendering was not happening properly.
Yeah, just... well, if it's fuzzy, it sounds like it's running at the wrong resolution.
Well...
Or it's upscaling it.
Not fuzzy. Pixely.
Oh,
like
blocky.
Yeah, blocky.
Like the bit rate wasn't high enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like the bit rate wasn't high enough. But I'm about 99% positive that's because of my processor being overloaded and really struggling to render things in real time and stream them. But yeah, so those things are what's going to be going on for me that I know of this week.
Cool.
Yeah, and I don't think I'll be an ass to Kyle. I'll let Kyle go next.
Oh, I almost forgot. I didn't forget, though. I almost forgot. If you want to go watch my channel on the YouTubes, you can do so by searching for Gaming Psychologist. If you want to follow me on Twitter, which I admit is kind of political at the moment because I'm so fed up with just seeing all of the garbage. And that's
Vote Nixon's head.
What'd you say?
Vote Nixon's head.
Well, you're insane. You are insane, Rage. Vote Earth-ending asteroid.
Yeah. But, so yeah, the political stuff is going to go away. I swear. I'm not like this all the time.
At least by the end of November.
Yeah. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at JMA4707. Stream games twice a week, even though you're hearing this, so it'll be in the past for you. Tomorrow night, we're going to play Spin Tires, which will be fun. I'm excited for that. And Friday, not sure what we're going to do, but I stream Wednesdays and Fridays. You can follow me, watch me do stuff over at twitch.tv/jarthur4707. And if you want to be my friend on Steam, feel free to add me. I accept friend requests from everyone who adds me and assume that they're from the podcast. My Steam username is jarthur4707.
And if you wish to let them know exactly which episode of the podcast you're coming from, the password for this week is Creepy Clown.
Yes!
Well, I guess password, you've never specified one word.
Considering I've done more than one word in the past.
That is true, he has.
Have you?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm just drawing a blank on you doing more than one word in the past.
Homer to Your Mobile, episode 30.
Yep. Oh. Okay. Well, there you go. That shows how much I remember about these past episodes.
Yeah, so remember, send them all the creepy clowns.
Yay. Okay, Rage, I think you're about to let Kyle go.
Yeah.
All right. Go for it, Kyle.
Okay, well...
Especially because I don't think Kyle has a lot.
Of the 30 things I'm starting up this week, no, not really. That would be ridiculous. You can follow me on Twitter at Chocolate Audible. No E, just straight into the A after the T in chocolate. I do have a YouTube channel. The featured channels are Gaming with Caffeine Rage and Gaming Psychologist. My YouTube channel is That One Guy Productions. Trying to start it back up as kind of a hobbyist channel. Sub if you want, don't sub if you want. It's cool. I'm just going to put up stuff that I like doing. Recently I put up just test footage to shake off the old editing cobwebs and possibly even the speech cobwebs. Who knows?
I talk English good.
English is dumb.
Hey, I speak two languages. English or bad English.
Anyways, so later
English
this week,
makes the rules just to break
I
rules.
managed to recover some footage from when Rage and I were playing Spin Tires, so I will be posting that with a link in the description to his video that runs parallel to that. So other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on. If you want, you can friend me on Steam. My username is That One Guy. It's probably easier if you just type in MICR, that is Mike, Indigo, Charlie, Romeo, that one guy. And if you want to join the MICR, just let me know. Alright, cool.
And if you wish to let them know exactly what episode you're coming from, the passphrase is creepy clowns.
I'll just forward those to Jared, no problem.
Oh, excellent. All right, so what's going on with your channel this week?
Oh, well, I ended up taking a couple days off just because I woke up Saturday and was doing my Loki impersonation from the end of the Avengers.
Puny rage.
So I ended up not doing the Sunday sampler this week. Well, that's kind of obvious because I didn't talk about it. And I actually ended up having to skip Monday for Victor Ron. I already had it rendered and had it uploaded. I just didn't have all the stuff set for it. So, and I was just in way too much pain to bother with it on Sunday.
Right.
So I ended up skipping that. So I actually started back up today with starting up RimWorld once again, which it's due to have a reset on its numbering next week, actually. Which, if you didn't catch my tweets about, I'm treating RimWorld as a bit of a group of series instead of a singular series. It does have its own master playlist that's going to have all the series in it. But every time the colony dies off for any reason whatsoever, usually probably due to my own incompetence, though. I mean, let's be perfectly honest there.
Sounds about right.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm less sorry about what happens to you now. And you're going to have to watch the last episode to find out. Which is going to be Friday at midnight.
Yeah.
But I'm going to reset the numbering each time that a new colony starts up. Partly because I recycle all the names. I recycle the mods. I think next time it cycles, though, I'm going to do a complete reset on the names list instead of having Jared being the number one spot again. Just to give everyone else a shot. Plus, it's also a lot more fun to have Jared show up be, possibly completely useless.
Possibly have naked art done about him.
No, that's Aki. That was hilarious. Two pieces of art depicting the exact same thing. Aki disrobing and crying.
Look, when that's all you do, everything starts to look like a problem where you can disrobe and start crying. What is that old saying? When you only have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail?
Vamos desnudos. Let's go naked.
Well, thank you.
Excellent.
But yeah, RimWorld is going to be resetting its numbers list next week. And also I have a new series that's going to be replacing Victor Vron next week. Which I'm not revealing what it is yet, just to make sure that it actually records properly. But it's going to be my spooky game for October.
Oh, boo.
No more like, ooh.
Alternatively, more like
it's
this.
It's going
to be... Get that clown laugh in there.
Well, it does have a creepy clown in it. No,
God.
It doesn't.
Here we go with the clowns again. All right, Rage, is that your spiel?
Yeah, just about. And on the third time block, I'm still doing spin tires with Kyle, basically because I wasn't able to get a hold of Jared this past weekend to figure out what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be spin tires for a couple more weeks. Then I'll get back together with Jared and we'll see what we do there because we haven't exactly figured that out yet.
No.
Terraria is still on hiatus just because of burnout. And the fact that the random number generator, whatever Jared did when he recreated the world, he pissed it off. I still can't believe 3 pirate invasions in 4 episodes.
I guess we're just that lucky. Or unlucky. Depending on your point of view.
Yeah, the Sunday sampler, I do want to make up the episode that I missed at some point. I know what I want to do. It's just, getting the time to do it. And, of course, the podcast that comes out on Friday. If you wish to subscribe, you could do so over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage. And it is a good time to do that just because RimWorld's resetting and I have a new series coming out. And who knows, maybe it'll actually be worth watching.
I think it will be.
And beyond that, there's also my Twitter, which it's mostly been me complaining about my back hurting and whining. But, between that or Jared whining about the political landscape, I think, having an actual pain in the backside is at least more interesting.
Also, that means we've got bitching and moaning covered.
Kill me. But you could check that out over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage. Or, sorry, Gaming with CR. Gaming with Caffeine Rage is way too long for Twitter.
Right.
And that about covers it. So
Alrighty.
let's jump into thanking the Internet Archive for unknowingly supporting us. Only if they do about all the clowns.
Maybe they're into clowns.
I wonder how many clowns are on the Internet Archive.
Too many. Carry on.
If you wish to email us, once again, that is vglpodcast@gmail.com, where you can send your letters, voicemails, your creepy clown pictures, or your gaming-related topics, or just tweet them over to VGL Podcast, and I'll be able to forward them directly to Jared. If you wish to support Jared's clown problem, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/VGL Podcast. And Jared's gotten very quiet.
I'm just sitting here.
For the record, Rage,
Sad about
this
it,
is
Gavin.
just you piling on at this point. I've pulled the cord. I have ejected from this.
No.
Done with
this.
that.
Is me doing the punctuation at the end, so that we'll never do this again.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm getting tired. Like, not like sick and tired of dealing with this, like actually sleepy tired. So I'm like really trying to concentrate on making sure that I can do my ending.
All right. And if you're watching this on YouTube or checking us out on iTunes or Google Play or wherever Jared has figured out where to put the podcast next, we do have a website, videogamelogicpodcast.blogspot.com, where the show notes reside and the RSS feed if you wish to have an RSS feed instead of iTunes or Google Play, or if you're catching us on YouTube, have a more convenient way to listen to us. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and you can find his work at incompetech.com. And
as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Bye-bye now.
see you next time.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I did. I'm commenting, the picture of Roxanne.
Was that the hacker you were talking about?
Yes, that's the hacker, only without the mushroom cap.
Nah. In my mind,
But yeah,
she will always sound like that.
Yeah, but yeah, you can tell that she's a totally elite hacker, right?
Well, yes, because hacking skills are stored in memory tissue. Which is why me, with my huge moobs, I am amazing at hacking, and Melanie, with her actual boobs, is decently okay. Belch.
Lovely.
Thank you. I could have muted that, but this isn't in the podcast. And I'm not even afraid of it being in Franken episode, simply because we have too much Franken episode from earlier.
It also requires Jared to listen to this part of the recording.
Yeah, we can say whatever we want about him.
He secretly loves clowns.
He does. He just wants to throw us off the scent so that we send clowns to his house.
In his basement, 55-gallon jug of white makeup.
Yeah, but if you open that up, just a bunch of fake snakes pop out. Did I ever tell you about the time that I scared the shit out of my girlfriend's sister.
Nope.
Okay. So, what I did was I set up a cardboard cutout of the Predator from Predators in the basement of their house. And it's because I had the key, and I just like got in there like a day early. So I was staying there. They all come over. Melanie stays with me upstairs, and her sister goes to put her bag in the basement. And she didn't do that until like way later at night. And so she gets downstairs. I set it up just kind of behind the door. So you wouldn't be able to see it like when you first like peeked your head into the room. But once you got in there and turned around to close the door, it would freak you the fuck out. And so I'm just sitting there out here. And I'm like, oh, found the thing. Yeah, that sister of hers does not like me very much. Can't imagine why. Well, that and she's in college still, so
Oh boy.
like everything is socially unjust. Everything, she knows the solution to all this.
One of those. Oh boy.
I had this really weird conversation with her. You ever did you get out and see the movie The Revenant?
Probably not. What was
The
it?
Revenant?
No.
All right, well, it does a pretty good job of depicting Native American culture, and I was like, yeah, I feel like it did a good job. And she's like, nope, it's racist. And I'm like, how the fuck is that racist?
As Indians and Native Americans,
Right, and so they were
indigenous
speaking
people,
their own language, they were following their own customs, they were dealing with the people that they would have dealt with, and I'm just like, how is that racist? She says, whatever, and I said, so what scene in the movie? She's like, oh, I've never seen it, it's just racist. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That was a really interesting point of the conversation to come back at.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's,
or you can really translate that to how a lot of people are looking at video games now. They'll see maybe a screenshot and say, well, that's racist, that's sexist. And not really care about what the game is, and really go into just causing these huge debates. And they're never going to be fucking playing these games. They're never going to be buying these games.
Well, of course not, because that would actually make them put their money where their mouth is in order to challenge their ideals. They're never going to do that. Because at the end of the day, unless you are actively looking to expand your worldview, people do not want their worldview challenged.
I like to expand my worldview.
Right, but you...
Not all the time, but most of the time.
Right, but you know that going in, where it's like, okay, I know what I think, I'd like to hear what this other person thinks, and I'm willing to hear them out. Versus people who are like, this video game is racist because it has... I don't know, boobs or some shit in it.
Because one of the gang leaders say kill all the other gang leaders at one point in it.
Yeah, and the gangs are racially segregated.
GTA Vice City.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like...
Here's the thing, is that I can think of a GTA game since GTA 3. Now, granted, I had never really paid attention to the GTA games before GTA 3. But ever since then, there's been some sort of either sexual or racist thing that people have bitched about these games.
Well, yeah, because it's easy. It's got a crime in the name. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a discussion for a whole other time. Do we want to do a clean dive into this?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Jared's making note of the time to get more freaking episode content.
No, right now I'm eating a sandwich.
Oh, well, don't let us stop you.
I was hungry. I'm not letting you stop me.
What type of sandwich? This is important. What type of sandwich?
It's really simple. It's chicken, oven roasted chicken,
all right,
on some nice wheat grain bread with Colby Jack cheese.
I'll allow it, and I want one.
I'll allow it. And my question is, do you think that's good badger bait?
Well, here's the thing: is that to get badger bait to work, the badger has to actually fucking show up.
Yeah. Also, I'm eating the sandwich, so it won't make very good bait.
Not with that attitude.
Wait, did we even hear back from her at all?
No, we have not heard back from her.
Well, I'll be that guy. Hey, Amy, if you're listening, a reply would be nice. Okay, thanks.
Hopefully sometime in the year that ends with 16, and that we're still actually alive during.
They're making some improvements in technology. You might be around. You might be a robot, but you might be around.
I'm okay with that. I want to be a cyborg.
Like Stan Smith.
All right. Are we ready to get back on track?
Nope, not even close, but let's do this.
Leroy Jenkins.
Pretty much.
All right.
Well, at least Jared has his chicken.
At least you
it's
got
already
the
gone.
chicken.
Fuck you guys, I got chicken. I got fried chicken.
Oh my god.
Leroy Jenkins!
And the Leroy Jenkins actual audio is going right here. I'm going to sound like a total ass if
Christ.
Jared's like, no, fuck you, Kyle. I'm putting it in right now. And if you choose to ignore both of those, right now. And if you ignored all three, Bartosik out. We're done. I'm not going to try and call it anymore.
And now that he's gone, blah, blah, blah. Now that he's left, I'm going to put it...
Leroy Jenkins! Wow, that... I've had some tequila.
I'm just going to mute your audio track. It'll be fine.
Jared's going to have fun editing this.
It's going to be
All right.
like an hour of podcast, followed by like 3 hours of shit, and then somebody mentioning the sun's coming up. They're like, oh, fuck, Community Corner, we gotta go, guys, we gotta go. Rage, we gotta go. We get the multiverse, we gotta go.